Welcome back, Martini Giant fans. This is episode number 115, which is Avatar, The Way of Water from 2022, directed, of course, by Mr. James Cameron. And we decided to pair that with Fantastic Planet from 1973, which is directed by René Laloux, a French animation, which I think is very important to the pairing of this. Why did we decide to do this? Well, first of all, there's several reasons. One, if you have listened to Martini Giant in the past, you will know that we don't always agree on films, we have different tastes, and we have very different personalities. That's part of the charm of what we do. But somehow, with Avatar, The Way of Water specifically, we all agreed on something that we really liked, and that was kind of surprising. So that was the first one. Two, we're going to continue going with our Oscar trends, right? So we decided that we're going to talk about movies that have been on the Oscars and celebrate them, and we're going to continue to do that for the next several podcasts. With a few interruptions here and there, but we did Top Gun, and we're doing Avatar now. No, yes, we're going to do some of the more obscure ones, don't worry. This is Martini Giant after all. Right, and we did do Everything Everywhere All at Once, so we've done several. Anyway, so yes, we decided to do that. And the third thing is the pairing of Fantastic Planet. We have not seen, and we may be very wrong, but we may have not seen anyone make a direct comparison of the influence of Avatar with Fantastic Planet. And we feel that there was something that was happening with James Cameron that really influenced him, that decided he was going to make this make something that was influenced by that. And we may be wrong, but we really strongly believe that there was something there. And it is a great film, Fantastic Planet, but it's very weird. And James Cameron managed to turn that around. So it was very interesting to put that all together. Very excited to talk about this and very interested to hear your thoughts. Okay, a couple of announcements. As you guys know, we usually announce our Twitch stream right now, which was going to happen on Saturday. And we're not going to do one this Saturday because I actually have some obligations. My daughter's going to be in a play for Elephant Man, which I'm very excited about. So I'm not going to be able to do that. But normally we do have them on Twitch. All of these podcasts are recorded on Twitch. And if you'd like to be part of that, you can totally do that. Twitch.tv/Martini_Giant. Twitch.tv/Martini_Giant. That would be the best place to follow us there. And we'd love to have you there. And when we don't do actual podcast recordings, we do watch parties, which are a lot of fun. So, but nothing happening this Saturday, unfortunately, so I'll let you guys know next time. But if you'd like to, if you're following us on YouTube, thank you. We'd appreciate it. Please subscribe and follow us there and like this video if you like it. But also, we'd love to have, if you're not on YouTube, if you're not watching us on YouTube, we'd love to have you follow us there. There's a lot of new stuff that we're trying to do on that platform, and go ahead and do that. So it is youtube.com/@MartiniGiant. Again, that is youtube.com/@MartiniGiant. But for now, please enjoy Avatar, The Way of Water, and Fantastic Planet. All right. We'll have plenty of opportunities for political discourse on both of these movies.
Absolutely. These are excellent political.
And so I think this is a little bit, this is one of the first times we've done a movie that's still in theaters and not available anywhere. I don't think
I do not think this is available yet.
No, it's definitely not available. Yeah. But it's the first time we've done one that's like still very much,
in the public eye.
You can walk down the street and watch it today.
Yeah, right.
Very much so.
Yeah. And we combined that with a movie that I don't think a lot of people realize existed.
It's true. Even though I think it very clearly influenced James Cameron early in his life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is
you think?
If we're going to talk today, we're talking about two giant science fiction movies. One that won the Grand Jury Prize at Cannes.
Yes. In 1973.
And one which is up for Best Picture today. And both of them feature giant blue aliens and tiny little people in strange worlds with very political statements.
Commentary about man versus nature.
Yes, exactly. So I've never heard Cameron speak about this. I'm assuming that he would have the good grace to say, like, oh shit, yes, Fantastic Planet was a giant influence on me, especially the blue people part. We'll see.
Maybe.
He's totally going to throw like a diversionary flair and just say Herbie Lovebug. That's really the
what? Well, I mean, like certainly. I mean, if you were to say like, yeah, I mean, like I totally saw that as a kid, and I also listened to a lot of Yes, and I appreciate Roger the album covers. Here we are.
Yes.
Yeah. Then
that was one of my favorite bands as a kid. And that was the first big concert, Go to the Garden, I saw in the late 70s.
Tales from Topographic Oceans.
I don't like Topographic. Close to the Edge, the Yes
Close
album.
To the Edge, yeah.
Parallel Lines, or Going for the One.
Going for the One. Parallel Lines is Blondie, yeah. I think Parallel Lines
is Blondie, but they have a song, Parallel Lines, in there. But it is a great album.
You may color me prog rock. I am a prog rock fan.
I never liked Genesis.
I liked the early Genesis when it was super weird.
My brother liked Lamb Lies Down
on Broadway.
I hated that crap.
It's super fucking strange because I also like Peter Gabriel and early Peter Gabriel, like his Melty Face album and all that shit. But
Melty Face?
Oh yeah, oh dude, if you want, like, there's the
that has Salisbury Hill on it. Which
is I remember that face, but I like the fact that you call it the Melty Face.
I don't think it has a title, does it? I don't know if the album has an actual title.
No, it doesn't. It just says Peter Gabriel, and it's like 79, 80.
Yeah. These are great, incredible albums. Like, I was listening to nothing but Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush.
Back when Genesis was kind of
Kate Bush's A Kick Inside is a masterpiece.
Oh, Kick Inside is incredible. I mean, everything, but virtually everything.
15 when she did that?
That's a Lion. What's it called? The one she did when she was 15 is Lion.
Kick Inside.
It's not Kick Inside. Kick Inside was later. Kate Bush. Lionheart. Lionheart's the one she did when she was 15 or 16. It's true. She only made one slightly mediocre album, and everything else, including her latest stuff, is just through the roof, insane good. But I was happy that she got a big hit out of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
she got Running Up That Hill did incredibly well off of that thing. In any case, there's a diversion for everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Martini Giant.
You said it 3 times already because you can't manage to keep it on track.
It's impossible. This is the nature of the show.
It's the nature of this show. We can't. It's like, hello, this is Martini Giant. Yes, now we're going to talk about the movie.
Now
20 minutes.
We're going to talk about racism in Roald Dahl books.
No. We're not going to get back to that. And I'm not saying because I don't want to avoid the subject. I just want to stay on target.
We just want to mention the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
Stay on target, just like in Top Gun. Remember Top Gun? No.
That was just like Star Wars. Top Gun was a lot like Star Wars. Did you notice that? I don't know if you noticed that. Yes, it's true. No, the movies today are Star Wars and Top Gun.
No,
the movies today are
Avatar and Avatar and Fantastic Planet. We've already said it, so we're just going to keep going.
Yes.
So what the thing that's going to be challenging here is that we tend to, tell the whole plot and do the whole thing, but I don't know if we should or can do that with Avatar because it is so fresh. But I don't see why not.
Let's give it a loose sketch. We don't have to give spoilers away. There are people out there I haven't seen it yet.
I think there's several things I gotta say about this Avatar, really quick before we get too much into. Yeah, now you don't have to see it because that's our tagline. Is it now? Movies you never get around to saying now you don't have to see it because Avatar is much bigger than the plot.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
It's a very simple film.
It's a very simple film, and it works well. It's constructed well, and it does certain things. But there's certain things that are so important in Avatar in terms of the filmmaking process and the cinematic experience that it is, because I think that's the word that is really important. Now, I just happen to have come back from the HPA Tech Retreat, and the HPA is the Hollywood Professional Association, which is mainly a bunch of geeky guys talking about technology. And John Landau was there talking about Avatar, obviously, because he's the producer on Avatar and has been one of Cameron's greatest partners. And he was very excited when people talked about it as a cinematic experience because he feels that it is much more of an experience than it is anything else. He's also very excited about the fact that it brought people back to theaters in a lot of ways, which I think is also a nice thing to say as well. But I went to go see it in IMAX 3D. Did you see it in IMAX 3D, Daniel?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, and Eric, when did
Yes.
Yeah. So to me, that was the thing that was incredible. And you guys if you guys have listened to Martini Giant before, you know that I'm not always the person who goes, you have to see it in theaters or whatever. I was like,
Well, in fact, like you're not super pro, you're not ultra pro on Avatar, and you're not ultra pro on Cameron. You're not. I wouldn't say you're automatically pro on these things.
No, I am not necessarily ultra pro on Cameron. I'm not ultra pro on Avatar, at least the first Avatar.
Right.
I'm not ultra pro on having to see anything in theaters. I'm not ultra pro on seeing anything in stereo either.
You're like a tech geek.
Yeah, but however, he's also
I don't
argued many times.
necessarily feel that you need to see things in theaters. I feel that there's a lot of home experiences that are really good, right? And I do stand by some of that, but I feel that when I went to see Avatar in IMAX 3D, I was like, I have to buy another ticket and see this again because I won't have that chance again.
Right. This is an absolutely, like, this is form fitted for the experience that it's offering. Like it is, I'm sure it'll still be a very, very highly entertaining movie at home. However, you are actually missing something if you don't see it in the theater.
I think, and I definitely feel that. And again, I don't say that lightly when I say you are missing something if you don't see it.
It's designed for this experience. 100%. Because
I'm curious to actually see it at home. I'm wondering if it'll be as sensational as.
Well, for instance, with Top Gun, I thought that Top Gun wouldn't be as good at home. And I actually enjoyed it even more at home. It's just an incredibly fun, good movie. So I think it's perfectly plausible that it's going to work. Like story-wise, it'll work as well. It's still a very beautifully shot, great-looking movie. So I think it's going to be a good movie, no matter what.
Right.
But the technology being forefronted here is unusual and makes it a special case. And so, like normally we would say, like for instance, the first time I saw Lawrence of Arabia, I didn't see it on the big screen. I saw it on like a 10, 15-inch television. It's still a great fucking movie. Like it's an undeniably great movie. That said, of course, I would prefer to see it as big as possible with as good sound as possible in the best possible situation. And normally that's a good theater, you know. But the way the theaters are going these days, often that is not the case because you have to put up with a lot of people that are just fucking dumping their kids off there and they're dicking around on their phones and talking to each other while you're trying to watch a movie, and that can take down the quality of the experience that you just paid $25 for. I also
think that what was the meme we had on our Discord where it was you showed a clip from Spy Kids.
Oh yeah, right.
And I was like, what every Avatar film or what every Marvel film,
Marvel film looks like
now to me these days. Exactly. And I was like, yeah.
No offense to the many people, including myself, who have worked on Marvel films.
Yeah, no, I've worked on that, and there's nothing, But at the same time, I waited for like 30 or 40 minutes of trailers before Avatar started, right? All showing on that giant format, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Including several of them in 3D stereo, right?
Right.
And they looked like Gumby compared to freaking Avatar.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just, who cares?
Like my standard feeling on the theatrical experience is that, like, in its best form, it's sort of hard to argue that 16 channel sound and a 75-foot screen is probably better than no matter what you have at home. Like, so it's always good if you can, if it's a pain in the ass to go to the theater, it's a pain in the ass to deal with people, it's a pain in the ass to deal with people on their phones, it's expensive. I understand all that, but in perfect conditions, if you have the option, yes, if you had it at your house, I would choose the 60-foot screen every single time, even for shitty movies, because it's a better experience. That being said, at home, almost everybody in America has at least a pretty decent TV. And if you watch Lawrence of Arabia for the first time on your TV at home, you're not missing anything. Like, it's a great film.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it is. And even if you saw it like I did, which is literally a 10-inch set, like, the greatness of the film is going to come through. But with Avatar, like, Avatar is, in fact, I would even say the simpleness of the story helps the movie work in the theater even better.
It's not too confusing.
Yes. So it is, every element of it is designed for the theatrical experience 100% in a way that there will be a loss at home. Like, right. I think that's probably the case.
But it's very over the top in terms of technology. And I mean very over the top. And I'm not necessarily saying that it needed to be simpler. I'm just saying that it's insanity. It's insanity. Like,
it's insanity.
Right?
It is over the top, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
It is over the top.
That's the nature of it.
Technology. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So to put things in perspective, just to put things in perspective, what I saw at HPA, and I saw the cinematographers and all the people that were involved in trying to film this, right? And I'm saying filming because remember, this is almost all CG.
Yes. 99.9.
Right? But they had Sony that had taken their best camera that they make. He wanted to film it in native stereo. Again, all CG, mostly. But he wanted to film it in native stereo. Sony had spent a great deal of time developing their camera to be able to split the sensor from the camera itself.
I understand it, but just tell me.
I do not understand it. Please tell me.
No, I get that. They took this. They split the camera body from the
camera and the sensor back. So the camera body. So what they did is they had the camera sensor, and then the rest of the camera is attached through an umbilical cord to the body of the camera, so that they could create an armature and attach two lenses. And so the camera, the stereo, because you have to shoot two lenses, right? So the stereo rig has to be light enough for the cameraman to handhold. Yeah. And then they have the umbilical cord going back to someone who's holding it on a backpack, right?
Yeah.
And then all of that is happening. And then they have to create all these different armatures, different lenses that have to be developed specifically for it, right? It takes them 9 months to design and build this thing, right? And they had a whole team of people working on this. And this is, by the way, they also mentioned that they don't rent anything. They buy everything because they have to dismantle things. And they also don't want to give away any secret technology to develop along the way to the rental houses. So everything's purchased. And these are expensive cameras. Plus, by the way, they also have 16 witness cameras as they're filming, right? So the main camera and 16 witness cameras because they have to get all the action that's going on. And the only thing that they're pretty much talking about what they're filming is Spider.
The kid with the dreadlocks.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. He's the person in the movie.
I'm telling you guys, when we do our own film and we're given a talk, we got to say, well, we had about 4 incognito cameras going at the same time. Dream principle. They're like, oh, that's something that Cameron used to do.
That's right.
Witness cameras. No, we talked to Jim, we chose incognito, and there's reasons I don't want to get into it. They're like, what?
Right. Like all of this stuff, it's like building an airplane hangar full of shit for Spider.
Right. And they did. Now there there are a few sets that were live. Right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And
there are a couple other actual physical actors in there.
They did have a few physical actors, but not that many. Not that many.
5.
Maybe I think total of maybe like 6 minutes of a live action set.
Yes,
in the whole thing, right? But one of them is when they go into the lab. That was one of them. But the most complicated one, and this was mind blowing, right? And I just want to say, whoever is compositing this is a magician beyond belief.
Oh, it's
the water. You remember when they dragged the guy who was hit off onto the rocks off the water, and Spider's helping?
Right.
So that is combination of live action and CG, and they had him in a freaking water pool to do that. So he would actually, and they had to match the CG water to the live action water, and all shot native stereo. So they had to get their cameras to be exactly lined up and tracking properly.
That is
nuts.
That is way beyond the call.
That shot probably took 2 years to make right.
Yeah. Yeah. That is bananas. That is simply bananas.
The water is beautiful in it, though.
It's some of the best I've ever seen in my life. It's perfect.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And then obviously a lot of the stuff in the water sequence when they're saving the dads and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Actually, one of my favorite bits is when the guy in the crab armor, like when that sort of floods in and all the water, I was just like, Jesus Christ, that felt real.
That was CG. Yeah.
That was incredible. Like that's
some of that was not CG.
It marries so well that it has the same physical
things
force
they were in. Those orangey mustard things were great. Those plants, seaweed, or
Well, this is the thing is like what this movie does. The technology is so successful in this movie that it has the same feeling that Top Gun does, which it has a physical reaction for me. Like it's not like I'm watching a video game anymore. It's like this really feels like an event, and the technology itself is amazing. But I think what really does it is that they have learned to work with this technology so well that they are no longer hindered in the filmmaking. Like in the first Avatar, I could feel the work that's going into the shot, and there's limitations on what they can do in the shot. In this one, it's Cameron running around with a camera himself, and they're just getting this. It feels like they're just getting this stuff and cutting it together.
Yeah.
Even though it's obviously took an enormous amount of work, the fluidity of it and the felicity with which they're delivering the physical impact of the cut is just outlandish. I was overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah, it's a powerful thing. I wouldn't agree with you necessarily that they knew what they were doing, because they admitted, Orlando at least admitted on stage, and he's like, we had to figure this shit out as we were going.
Oh, like, for sure. I guess, it feels like they knew what they were doing. Is what I meant. The end user feeling is like, this feels just like the indie filmmakers running around with a camera. And that's what it should feel like.
I mean, the way they talked about building that camera was like, I don't know how the hell we were going to do it, right? Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, we got it all figured out. None of this was figured out. Yep. None of this, right? Including all the fluid stuff. They told Weta, be ready. Mm-hmm. You got 3 years or whatever to get that water ready.
Yeah.
Make a team to make that happen.
Yeah, it's got to be perfect crazy. Too. It's got to be perfect.
And it's so that's the task they put him out to. They you've got 3 years of development, or I don't know if it was 3 years exactly, but it was something along those lines. Like, we're going to do water. Just get ready for it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, for a long time now, we've had, we've reached a state with water, which everyone seemed really happy with, even though it didn't.
It started to look fluffy.
Yeah, it started to look fluffy. It started to look like Air Force One-y. It's just like, where you're like,
why is that?
Like, I think it's just because, like, shots, like, the Marvel effect is like, it's not like good people aren't working on this thing.
I wouldn't necessarily give it the Marvel. Okay, so there was a moment in water. So water was always a challenge. And I was thinking about this. And actually the person who really started to push CG water is actually Cameron himself, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. Because that was on Titanic, right?
On Titanic.
The Abyss.
No, the Abyss. Yeah. No, so the water weenie on the Abyss was yes, you're right.
Separate. It's true, but it's a separate item. It's
I'm talking more about like what a wave in an ocean looks like. Right?
Integrated water effects for the scene.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And so they used arete. Remember, arete was the thing that was this fluid sim that was used back then, and that was created the wake on the water and the waves. And that's the big thing that was important in Titanic, when it was really cool. And then you keep going, and then water became, after a while, it got better and better. And then the big thing was, scanline water.
Yep.
Scanline. Yeah.
Scanline sort of like, oh crap. But then scanline waters start to get the same look over and over.
That's what I was getting at.
You start seeing what the gimmick is,
Go ahead, Eric.
But what changed? I mean, their water was really nice.
It was. What was the one that they did? It was with the tsunami wave, and the woman gets hit by that tsunami wave. That was brilliant.
Oh, it's it's with Naomi Watts, that one.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the Invincible.
Something about the Indonesian.
Inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Whatever that is, it's that wave, and it's a good scene. It's a really good scene.
It's an amazing scene. But I think when the waves started to get like unnaturally large, right?
Well, yeah, because filmmakers like Roland Emmerich started.
Can you make the thing bigger?
Yeah, right.
Make the logo bigger. Right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they don't understand anything about.
I mean, there's I'm not sure if they did the water for Dune. Dune's water looked pretty great. There's only a little bit of it, but they did a really nice job. So I think if people focus on it, it still does nice. It's still good, but you really, really have to plan for it.
But the splashes, I think it's the splashes or the white foam that just started.
Tiny interactivity was crazy.
Yeah, but I think that they started to get too fluffy after a while. Mm-hmm. And when I see what they did on Avatar, what to me stood out about the water is not the big waves, but the little waves. The subtlety of the little waves,
it's just
right?
these little ripples.
Little ripples.
Yep.
And just the way that water goes bloop, bloop on the beach was just perfect, flawless.
Yep.
Because that's hard to do.
Yep. It's very subtle, but you know when it's when it's wrong, you know.
Right. And then all the wetness that they had was also really well done with the hair and the dripping and all of that.
And everything you're seeing is at the same top-notch level, and so it just overwhelms you. So you're just like, yeah, it's real. I don't care. Your brain just stops thinking about it.
And you forget about the story.
Well, you just like, the thing is, like, that's what I mean before, is like the story, I think, is actually exactly right for this kind of movie. Like, it's a powerful, successful, emotional story that works very well. It's very simple. But they hit all the right notes to carry the thing off, and I cared about all the characters in a way that I didn't really care about them in Avatar 1. Like, because, like, you can't have the effect, like, this can't work this well if it's only technology, because after 3.5 hours, I'm just not going to give a shit, no matter how good it looks. But in fact, like, I did get totally swept up in it, and I think if the movie were more complex in terms of its screenplay, it would jam it up. Like, it's good. Like, you don't want, it's a ride film. You don't want it to be, like, it's not Anna Karenina.
So here's yes. And I do complain about Cameron stuff, but I want to say the complaints I'm about to say are not to say that I did not like this movie. I love this movie. But I will say this, the plot is very, very simple, which I agree with you is great. But what sucked was the dialogue was really...
this is
like, I gotta be honest,
feels like temp dialogue.
I know, but for me, I don't like his films, but the dialogue didn't bother me because I wasn't paying attention. I was too into visuals, like it was a Roger Dean album, and I was like, yeah. And so I just was like, okay, they're running through the.
Well, I didn't. If they took the same dialogue and just made it just, or not say the master of the obvious bullshit.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, I'm sort of in the middle on this, because I agree with you that his, like, if there's a weak point for Cameron since Terminator 1, it's his dialogue. Like, it's kludgy.
But he puts his tech first.
Well, yeah, like, I don't know if that's exactly true. I think he is a very, very emotional, earnest person when he's telling stories.
I know, but on set, it's about tech and fitting into his world.
That's how he communicates that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But so he communicates emotionally via his technology, but he is trying to communicate emotionally, and he has big emotional things to say. And the dialogue really represents that in a way that I think that, like, you compare this to Marvel movies, right? Like, Marvel screenwriting, even when it's tight, is based upon the idea of, let's not take this too seriously. Like, all of the dialogue is self-mocking, constant ironic jokes about what you're watching to make sure that you don't feel like a nerd for watching this shit. And it pushes you back all the time. It's just like, oh, it's a plot, it's a trope. Oh, we got to make fun of that. It's a trope. It's a superheroes, and it's strange that we're superheroes. Like, all this kind of stuff. Whereas the bluntness of Cameron's, what he's selling is just like, this is wondrous, and these are the things that I mean about love. And he's so direct and earnest about it that that's why I think this movie is a giant fucking hit as opposed to other movies of its kind. And I think that it's an incredibly refreshing point of view for big time movies. The downside of that is that most of the dialogue it's so obvious and blunt and awkwardly blunt that you're just like, couldn't you just massage that a little tiny bit so it sounded like a real person talking? Like, I love
no one
your
says
earnestness.
that. No one says that. But Jason is like, why don't you just do the Nolan effect, where you just make the music so loud you can't even hear them talking?
You can't hear it. I love it. Oh god, I love that Nolan. But yeah, like that's the thing. It's like, I think that I totally agree with your critique. I think it's a side effect of the fact that he wants to say shit out loud that other people are too embarrassed to say out loud.
Right.
And he's just not a masterful. It's not like he's David Mamet, you know. And it would be great if you could have both, but it's very rare to have someone who is, like, intellectually keen enough to, in their dialogue writing, to, like, come up with a really savvy way to say something very earnest. Sure. He's not that guy. Like, he's just going to be like, fuck it, just say it, and I'll clean it up later, or not. And so it's just where you're at with that guy.
That's letting technology lead.
Well, yeah, but I mean, let's like he's not. That's what I mean to say. It's like other people. There are plenty of people that let technology lead who don't have anything to say. Right? They're just because they think technology is novel, so they show it. Whereas like Cameron loves technology in a very real way. Like he's passionate about it, and that's how he communicates these passionate ideas. And so he puts more effort into communicating his love this way than he does into communicating his love with words. But he is trying to communicate love. And I do believe that that's why the movie works so well. Is like, this is there are plenty of big fucking spectacle movies that have come out since Avatar 1, but nothing literally has hit like this. And I think that's because it's very honest about caring about people and things. And that message comes through, even if it's clunky in a way that, like Black Widow does not provide. I think that's the useful thing. I agree. That fucking like you couldn't get clunkier dialogue than some of the shit that gets said in his movies. It's just the way it is.
Well, look at what someone put in our comments.
What do you got?
It says, I mean, it's strange that Aliens is one of those quote the line gold mines, a Cameron film. Mm-hmm. So we are
that's a great point.
haphazardly expect to somewhat know what the work at one point.
Well, yeah, it's a great point, Casey, because I think that like
Casey,
that movie, like I never watch Alien and Aliens back to back because Alien is an absolutely realistic experience with actual people in it.
Beautiful movie. It's my favorite.
It's one of the best movies. It's possibly my favorite film of all time. And Aliens, which I utterly love, is a cartoony Saturday morning goofball hoax show by comparison.
But awesome.
Of itself, if I don't watch Alien right before it, I am not...
They're two different genres.
It's just a different kind of... It's a comic book
Two different
movie.
genres. Two different genres.
And he writes fucking good, snappy fucking Bill Paxton dialogue like nobody's business, especially when he has Bill Paxton to deliver it. But he doesn't have that anymore.
Okay, so Jason says he needs a writer to take his bullet point ideas and turn them into something realer.
Exactly.
But you know that Cameron's never going to do that.
You can't even
let a cinematographer hold a freaking camera.
Exactly.
He's not going to let anyone write the lines for him. Right.
It is the way it is.
So we have to just deal with that. But nonetheless, it was cool. And he does. Okay. And the other thing I liked about it is he had a really great idea of how to follow up this story. Like, how do you make an Avatar and don't just keep going down the same line of what it's doing, but make it something different, right? Mm-hmm. And make it a different experience. And it was... It is totally a sequel, but a completely different experience at the same time.
Agreed. Well, I think what's really brilliant about it is that unlike the first one, because the way the first one fails, right, is that he's trying to sell like this big, like, we should be good to the earth story, and he's not doing anything to sell you.
He's less preachy now.
Yeah, well, he's preachy in the right
definitely
way.
Preaching.
Like, because
he relates. The first one.
Yeah, like, because, well, the reason why the first one feels preachy to me, whereas the second one doesn't feel as preachy, even though I think it's actually way preachier, but it's way more successful at preachiness.
It's less militaristic.
It's also really dedicated to saying what it's saying via this concept of his family. Like, he's like, the whole idea is like, we are a family. And then he projects that onto the community. We are a family. He projects it onto the planet. We are a family. He projects it at you. We are a family.
Well, there's also, he projects different families, functional families and dysfunctional families, right?
Exactly.
And he projects, those are, everyone has a different relationship, right? Like Spider and his dad have a very different relationship, right?
And that contrast really makes you feel the good stuff.
Yes. And especially when they're both being saved by each other's sons.
Yeah.
At a separate time.
Very simple, but it's very powerful.
Smart. I gotta say, like I'm saying, I'm not talking about the plot or the story itself.
You're talking about the structure of the storytelling.
No, my criticism is specifically the dialogue. The words that are coming out of people's mouth is the problem.
100%.
What the message
is like, what you're complimenting is the structure,
of how the structure and the actual story being told. It's just that the way that the words are said, and they're not always there. It's just that there's several awkward moments. Of like,
you just have to go like,
really?
Okay, well, I guess that's
like
what we're watching.
The first sign that I had of that is when they're speaking in Na'vi, right?
Right.
And then he's like, it took me a while to get that language to my skull. A couple of years, but now it just sounds like English. And that's when they decide to switch to English as opposed to subtitles. Right. And it was like, really? You got to do it that way?
Like the thing is, you can do that. Like that same gag is used in Hunt for Red October very well. Right. Yeah. But they make a sort of, in Hunt for Red October, they make the way they do it is they deliver it on a really serious theme-centric beat. Because like you have the guy is reading the quote from the Bible in Russian, right? And it lands on the word Armageddon. And Armageddon is the same in both. And so he says Armageddon. It says the text Armageddon in the subtitles. And then suddenly they're speaking English. It's an incredibly deft way to do it on the very point of what the movie is saying. And in this case, what they do is just like, and then I just knew how to do it. And so now my kids speak like they're high school
exposition.
students.
It's like, that's not craft.
Yeah. It's very simplistic. Yes.
It's simplistic, but the visuals were so strong that it didn't bother me. I just was I wasn't paying it. I was following the story visually.
I'm different. Maybe I'm different.
Yes.
Maybe it took me out of it a little bit.
You are different. It didn't take me out of it because it's
something that you just have to accept.
Theme.
My chair and
it's
I
like
left
saying,
the theater.
It's something that we just accept. I mean, it's like for, and this has been true for me for
that drunk pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean theme park ride kind of took me out of the moment. It's like it's a theme park ride for me. I didn't pay attention to anything else. But I have a question as both you guys. We were talking earlier, I was a huge Yes fan. Has Roger Dean ever settled? I mean, so much of that art is Roger Dean.
Yeah, it's all Roger Dean. All the great covers are Roger Dean.
Did he ever sue or from the first one?
I have no idea. I've loved those things ever since.
Because that intro was Roger Dean. I was like, God,
what
that
intro?
was his
to Avatar.
Avatar. Avatar.
Yeah,
really?
It's meaning the floating islands. It looks like it looks exactly
islands.
like a Yes cover.
Yeah, it's a Yes cover.
It's a
Yes cover. Tales of Topographic Ocean, Relayer, and I was like, God, I wonder if he sued.
I'm sure he's the kind of guy who's just like, well, I guess I made an impact.
Wow,
here we are.
But it's a real lift.
It is 100%. But
it's funny because I was watching the trailer to Avatar 2, when it came out ages ago, and the little submarine things, right?
Oh yeah, right.
And I looked at Roy Robinson did a teaser for a movie he was going to do called Leviathan. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
But it was about space whales.
Yeah, space whales.
Right. And so he did this whole thing with the space whales, and it came out years and years ago, and it was really cool, but the ships kind of looked the same. The space whale kind of looked similar.
There's a lot of crossover there, for sure.
And I was like, holy shit. I mean, and I know that some people at Weta helped with Rory work on that. And I was like, Rory, did you see this? And he goes, yeah, you mean in terms of it looking like Leviathan? I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, well, I rip off Cameron all the time, so
exactly. To me, that's the proper way to look at these things. I mean, I think it's I think that what I would hope is that if you went to James Cameron and said, James, they're like, that is a stone cold ripoff of Tales from Topographic Oceans. I would hope that he is the kind of guy who goes, you bet your ass it is. I love Roger Dean, and that's why I did this.
Yeah, or Fantastic Planet.
Don't fucking pretend like you didn't rip something off. If you ripped something off, just go, of course.
Right.
This is what it is.
Well,
shit.
Yeah. I think we seem to forget that art is derivative, but that's okay.
No, this is what I'm saying. It's like it only looks ridiculous to me. It's like when you pretend like it's your original, but it's obviously not.
What was that, Eric?
I was commenting on a legal standpoint because if they could sue over 12 Monkeys or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Then they certainly can sue over that.
Oh, yeah. I think that's totally reasonable. I think that the situation with 12 Monkeys is a little bit different because the art that they're cribbing is pretty obscure as opposed to, an incredibly popular rock band's albums. Like it's like fucking everybody knows, Steely Dan covers as well.
The one, here's the deal though. The one for the 12 Monkeys, I remember going to a studio. God, I forget his name, but I knew somebody who lived next door to him.
Lebbeus Woods.
Lebbeus Woods in New York. The thing is, that was a direct lift from one of his pieces. It was like down to the framing. I was like, wow.
That's what I mean. Is like that's a total steal. And the fact that the thing is that like if you were to go to anybody on the street or just ask online, like who's Lebbeus Woods, like virtually nobody would know who that is.
Everyone would
culture.
Be like, "Oh my god,
I've been following that band forever." And
they would absolutely. Oh yeah.
Whereas it's the fact that Gilliam was essentially saying, who was trying to get away with the idea that this was his, and it is not his. Like, that's a steal. Like, he stole it.
Or the production designer just did it and he didn't know.
Just did
No,
it. Whatever,
I'm pretty sure
exactly.
Gilliam is involved. I have some inside stories.
I don't know anything about that. I can't say that's I supposedly stole whatever the outcome of that was. I have no idea.
Whatever. I just know that Lebbeus Wood got a check from Universal.
Right. Again, I think that's the point of contention there, is that, like, here's someone that in popular culture would be considered relatively obscure, and you are taking credit for one of his images almost directly. Whereas, like, you know, like at least 12% of people that saw Avatar were like, that is Roger Dean. like there's no way around it. That's what it is. It's like every time you see that shot from the Searchers going through the door, it's not like no one's gonna be like, yeah, well, that's the Searchers. Like, that's what that is.
Well, just come on. We're also in a culture of ripping off everything all the time. I mean, just look at Stranger Things. It's just constant reference to everything you do.
Oh my God.
And I think all of that is perfect. Like, I think all of that is perfectly good because that's how art is made. Like, I think that's all very good. I think it's comically ridiculous when artists try to pretend that somehow they have never experienced somebody else's art, and then they produce something that is identical to it. Like, right. Come on, guys.
Who is it? Enya refuses to listen to any other music because she doesn't want it to influence her?
Well, she should probably listen to a little more music.
Wow. I didn't know that. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Good luck, Enya. I wish you the best.
Okay.
Hey, I own that album. It's fine. I like her.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. Okay, so should we talk about the loosely about this, or at least in reference to
sketch it out?
Okay,
sketch it out.
I'll try to sketch it out. So, in reference to from the first Avatar, as you might remember, he decides to stay on the planet, and all the quote unquote good humans stay on the planet, right? And they pretty much defeated the bad guys, and specifically they defeat the sergeant. I forgot his name, but
Quaritch.
Right, but they kill him. He's killed by the what's her name, the woman.
Yes, which is one of my favorite fucking scenes in the movie. That whole ending, like that, Avatar 1 is a pretty good movie, but that ending is really spectacular. Like, they do a really nice job with that. Yeah, and he gets an arrow straight through his chest, killed. Yeah. So you think that's that, but turns out that's not that.
Okay, so they do several clever things to sort of keep going, but the idea is now that the planet is controlled by the good humans and the Na'vi, right? And they all get along and they all try to play nice, right? Like it was when Sigourney Weaver was in charge. But we also know that Sigourney Weaver is dead, right? From the first one, right?
Yep. Absorbed into the tree somehow.
Absorbed into the tree, right? Yep. Her soul was taken into the tree, which is the thing. Now, Sigourney Weaver has an avatar that's kept alive somehow in its little capsule, right? But the story is that he and the woman, they have a family now together. They start growing a family, which was interesting to me because I didn't know that an avatar could reproduce, but
there's nothing that says it can't.
There's a lot of things. There's a lot of questions that I started.
But it's a little hand wavy.
There's a lot of hand waving going on. Right. And if I say it out loud, it sounds stupid. But honestly, again, this part I'm forgiving of. Like the dialogue bothered me, but the hand wavy technology all was fine.
Right.
All was fine because it was fun. Yep. It was great. So basically, the idea is that he has a family now, and they all speak Na'vi, and they're all excited. And they have a miracle child was born because the miracle child came from Sigourney Weaver's avatar. So her avatar gave birth. Right. To this, what's her name? Tiki? No. Hang
on, I'll look it up. I should have had this up before.
We should have had all these names up.
I'm now...
Kiri.
I have to tell you, I'm now, by the way, that should be much easier because I'm now using TMDB instead of IMDb. And it is way better. If anyone wants to look at that, it's themoviedb.org. Use this instead of IMDb. That is my recommendation.
Yeah. Jason says the avatars are hybrids, but apparently not mules.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yeah. So like mules cannot have baby mules.
Right.
You know, horses and donkeys can have mules. But
and the big thing that distinguishes the avatars or humanoid inspired thing from native Na'vi is that native Na'vi have 3 fingers and a thumb, and humans have 4 fingers and a thumb.
Right.
And they kind of make a big point of that. And you can see from the image behind us that Avatar has 3 fingers.
Were you the scene where they were using the calculator? They're like, oh, that's right.
Yes.
Their fingers are different.
Right.
Yeah.
We're doing the Na'vi taxes. Yeah, that's
right.
But yeah, like I almost, when I look at this shot, I go like, did they do this just to show off that is not a real hand? Because it looks so good. Yes,
they did. Well, 3D. They want to get stuff in your face.
I'm just like, holy shit. I mean, look at the hand. It looks terrific. And it's obviously has to be CG.
The texture quality was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So much of this is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. Gotta say. Anyway, where was I? So this family's grown, and they're all happy, and they have their date nights, and the kids are fun. Now, it's kids. This is the other thing that's cool. Most of this is about kids, right? But they have basically. I'm gonna try to say just as you said. I'm gonna blow through this.
Yep.
The bad guys.
Blue people on a blue planet. Okay.
Right? So everything is cool.
It's question time.
The sky people, as they call them, arrive again to this time completely wipe them out and destroy them. And they now turn into another rebel group, right? But the sky people have developed much, much quicker. One of the people that they bring onto this planet is actually the guy who died, the sergeant. They made an avatar of him and implanted his memories of himself into the avatar. So the guy is actually dead, but he is a reincarnation of himself.
Yeah,
as
a reincarnation.
Right, a reincarnation, right? So that was interesting. Also, we find out that there was when they left, there was a baby who was too young to go into cryotubes, and so he stayed behind, and that baby happens to be the sergeant's father.
Yes, right.
Right? And his name is Spider. Now he's a teenager, and his name is Spider, right? And so basically now you have a human who's a little savage boy who hangs out with the Na'vis.
Yeah,
and,
like the natives. Yeah, like he's grown up in native Na'vi culture.
Right.
And so like he is like essentially like a kid who lives in between worlds. Like everybody around him is Na'vi. They kind of look at him like, okay, we accept you, I guess, but all right. Like especially Jake's spouse there. What's Neytiri? Like Neytiri's like, yeah, I'll care for you, but I'm a little bit racist against the sky people. She's just a little smidgen like, fuck you guys.
Right. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I would want to say to Jason, try to put a message, and the auto moderator tried to stop it from happening because thought he was swearing, but he's talking about Dick Smith and not Dick.
He's not talking about someone who constructs dicks.
Yeah. Yep.
Dick Smith, famous makeup artist, amazing.
Yep. So we're good. You're good there, Jason. I'll let that comment slide.
Thank you. Yep, man, oh man. Legendary makeup artist Dick Smith. Yes, you're absolutely right to point that out. Dick Smith, for people who do not know, did The Exorcist and was some of the most amazing old age makeup of all time, et cetera, et cetera. Incredible guy.
Okay, so now there's now basically a bunch of rebel attacks, right? That they are blowing up trains and doing all kinds of stuff to get out there. But specifically, the sergeant is targeting the family and going after them, and so he can no longer be the head of the tribe. And he decides to escape with the whole family and leave there. Right. Which feels cowardly, and there's some tension there, which is good. But the family is very close, right? The family itself is very, very close.
Yet Neytiri does not want to do this, and Jake's like, "It's the only way I know how to protect you, and this is how it's got to go. Otherwise, they're going to come and kill everybody."
But and she did it on the ground, saying, "You have to fight, and not
Right.
stand up.
Right. And so she's very much like, so we're running away. This stinks.
Yeah. So the human boy, who is known as Spider, right? He is caught by them, and he starts to be very rebellious. They're totally making him act like a little jungle boy, which is kind of.
They totally did. He's like from Ventura
little Tarzan.
County, like a surfer.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
They're
dude.
basically doing the Tarzan model
man.
with him. Yeah, and like he's the wolf boy essentially.
He's totally wolf boy. Yeah.
And like I think it's actually pretty canny of Cameron to do this, because like he is like the tropes that surround him are sort of annoying. Like it's the white kid with the dreadlocks, the kind of stuff where you're just like, oh, fuck this kid. And so like, and the actor is actually quite good. Yeah. And so like I end up liking Spider.
But he's the only one they had to direct.
Right, exactly. Like the actor's very good and he does a great job with the character. And the character is a really nifty character in that it reveals that Neytiri is a little bit like she is not accepting of him because of who he is. There's a feeling of like, who the fuck are you to be here? From the audience, so you sort of support how she reacts to him, and then you also sort of feel kind of scummy about it at the same time. It's a pretty clever bit of work. Like it's a really and luckily it's backed up by a very good performance from that kid. I think it's quite good.
He is, and considering the fact that he's a kid, right, but also was acting in very challenging situations to react to things, right?
Just technologically, that's a difficult
technologically. So he did a really good job, all things considered. Right. Now, apparently, one of the reasons Cameron gave as an excuse that he needed to film all 3 films together is because he didn't want that kid to grow up. He didn't want to have quote unquote
this. We can just load the same old kid model.
Right.
Right. We can't do that with him.
But so I think it's specifically that kid that they had to make sure stayed the same age.
Makes sense.
And that makes sense. But the irony is that Kiri,
here's the sucker punch angle of this.
Kiri, who is supposed to be like a 15-year-old Na'vi girl, also slightly an outcast because she thinks differently than other ones, and she's a little bit, they don't. Something's going on with her. We don't.
She's got a little bit of human brain juice in there.
She's
somewhere.
got a little something going on in her emotionally, and some, there's hints that she may have a mind power that's more powerful than other people. But that specific kid is being played by a 70-year-old woman.
Yeah, which is sort of mind-blowing. Like, because
Sigourney Weaver is basically playing her. Now, her performance, by the way,
perfect.
They're all good, but
it's
her performance,
show-stopping.
it is mind-blowing. Are you right?
I thought she was, I was just like, wait, is that Winona Ryder? Like, is that 18-year-old Winona Ryder? No, it's 70-year-old Sigourney
Weaver. And they must have done some voice stuff to her to make that.
Yeah, I think that's true. But it's in the performance. Like, that's 100% her doing it.
Yeah, her facial expressions were perfect. The way she acted, like she had that, and she did the teenage like eye rolling, like she nailed eye rolling.
She kills it. It's really something, man. Like it's one of these performances that goes overlooked simply because it's so good. Like it's sort of a thankless little bit where I'm just like, I couldn't have asked any actor to do
honestly,
that.
I hate to say it, I'm a no because I'm a doofus, but I didn't realize it was her the whole time.
Exactly,
really?
dude. Exactly.
No, I didn't realize.
I hear a lot of people say this.
There were certain inflections. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I thought she was a very good actress. Like whoever that is, really nailed it. She's like, she feels like she's an offspring of Sigourney Weaver, and it's like, no, it actually is Sigourney Weaver. Exactly. Because I was like, Sigourney Weaver is like, because she does like Sigourney Weaver plays herself in video format and in a memory and a dream state as well to the girl as the actual physical manifestation of herself as a 70-year-old woman. And I was like, really? She only had like a couple shots in there. I didn't realize how long she plays. She's a major part of the movie.
Yeah. She's one of the stars of the film, like wholesale.
100%.
And like they played down that part of in terms of advertising, they don't play that up at all. Yeah, it's really
so good.
done. Yeah, she's terrific. She's and also like just a very, very likable character. When that's the kind of character I normally don't like. Like I've seen that kind of character written where I'm just like, oh Christ.
Because I'll get to it in a second, but basically like when they all leave together, right? And they migrate right, to the next neighborhood. So now they're outcasts in another neighborhood. So they basically go to a different tribe of people that live on the near the ocean, right? And these are water people as opposed to forest people, right? And they're slightly, they are a quote unquote different race, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't look the same, right? Just like black people and white people don't look the same. They have different features that suit their environment better.
Right.
It's the same deal here, right? So here, because they're water people, they have fatter tails, allow them to swim a little better. Their skin color is closer to the water color. That kind of situation, right? So they're different. They have, Caribbean accents.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's wholesale making this about Earth. Like it's just like he's not trying to hide. It's like this is about cultures of Earth. All of us,
right, and everyone's trying to get along. But so then what happens is that their kids, and the new kids start to have confrontation, and that's really what the story's about. The story's about these two sets of kids all trying to figure out how to get along and how to grow up together.
Their families.
Yep.
And it's that to me was a surprising twist on this story. Yeah. Which I loved. I love that.
And it's
about
very,
kids.
Because he takes that lens, right?
Yeah.
It makes it both makes it very, very inclusively minded, yet can also be these characters are in competition with each other, or like they're fighting each other in a way that you want them to get along. Like you don't have there's no like political sides being projected on anybody. You're just like, I know that kids fight like this. This makes sense. And then you feel
it's almost like Shameless, but blue people.
Yeah, it's exactly. Like it makes it connects you to them in a way where you don't have a lot of judgment, and it's like I think it's people slam on Cameron for all sorts of reasons, but the thing that I think that he is the greatest at is structure. And his best movies are as successful as they are because he knows why things are in the movie. Like he doesn't include things haphazardly, and so he refines every element to be a functioning tool of what he's saying. And many screenwriters don't bother to do this. And so, like, even though his dialogue gets clunky,
many screenwriters aren't behind the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's always thinking about the final effect of the movie. And every aspect of it is a tool for him. Like this is what these characters need to be in order for the story to say what I need it to say. And that sense of structure and how to build it and how to set up the setups and payoffs there's very few people that are better at that than him. And that's why he has 3 of the top grossing movies in the world.
Right. Yeah. So that's another thing that obviously happened during he has 3 of the top 4 grossing films of all time.
Yep.
Worldwide, not domesticness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive, and that will allow him to continue to ask for whatever amount of money he wants to make the next movie.
He's home free at this point. I think that's...
I mean, honestly, if I were him, I would just finish 3 more Avatar films and just stop.
Call it a day.
Just like, there it is.
I don't know if he can, because I think he just loves making things. But
yeah.
But that was very, very cool. Anyway, so it's about the kids, which is cool. And you're right. He's not just, he makes, I think somehow there's something about him that made this story a little more special. Mm-hmm. Right.
I agree.
And what's interesting to me is that the first Avatar felt slightly, I hate to say it, slightly adolescent.
Oh, totally. 100%.
Right? And this one is about adolescence.
And feels
so therefore
much more grown up.
Feels grown up, right?
Yeah,
like it feels like adolescence instead of being forced to learn stories, like growing up stories.
Right.
And somehow it was just worked.
This movie has a perspective that the first one does not. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
It just works better.
Yeah. 100%.
There is a lot. By the way, like I said, the story is simple, but it is 3+ hours. So there's a huge amount of establishing montages and beautiful shots that are being done over and over again, and big action scenes.
Yep.
So that you can just sit here and absorb all that eye candy. It does not feel like a 3-hour movie.
Oh yeah, no, it feels like a great 3.5 hour dinner. You're just like, good God, you guys made so much stuff. Thanks. It's just insane. And I feel like the how can I say it? Like, this movie is saying something that is actually very hard to say in any other kind of media or TV or anything today. That is something that really needs to be said. Like, because if you were to put this in a realistic setting and say it on like Netflix streaming, people would instantly be like, it's so much woke bullshit, or whatever it is. Like
woke bullshit. What is going on? What has happened to us?
Yeah, it's like this movie is as progressive and environmentally active as you could possibly ask a movie. It's incredibly critical of America's colonizing past with like explicit Vietnam references. That's what they call woke now. I'm just like, but progressive, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into this. But this is the greatness of it, is that it's able to.
He's dragging you in.
No. I'm saying is like, what's wonderful about this movie is that I haven't really heard that much of that kind of arguing nonsense about this movie. Everyone just enjoys it. Like, he found a way to say this stuff in a way that it's very difficult for people to get political about, and like people have said, they've said plenty of stuff, but nothing's caught overwhelming fire enough to make that the topic of discussion when you talk about Avatar. Like he's gotten this idea across that is so universal. It's hit all over. In fact, it's hit in the rest of the world better than it's hit here, which I think says, because like as much as people want to complain about the how it's simplifying cultures and all this other stuff that you see in
really that was a complaint.
Yeah, you see people trying to get clickbaity, argumentative stuff happening about this movie, and then the movie is actually insanely popular in every other country on Earth outside of America. It's only in America where like, well, can't we fight about this fucking thing? Like, no, not really, because it's a good thing to say. Let's all get together and agree on that. And I think that's it's really very unique, and it's amazing that he's been able to make something that connects so well with literally everyone on Earth so well. It's a rare thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to complain about anything, it's just the dialogue.
It's hokey dialogue, man.
I just don't even think people commented that much.
I don't think they did. I don't think they don't. They don't. And I think that's exactly what Daniel's saying is like they kind of like this is a gold mine of opportunity to criticize, left-wing propaganda, right? But they didn't.
But they didn't. Like the Fox News could be saying this environmental blah blah blah. Like they could rant all day on this.
Technology overwhelmed.
Tucker Carlson could just go crazy about it. But
exactly.
Nope.
But Tucker Carlson has kids who are just like, if you say one fucking thing about that movie, I'm going to disown you. There you go. Shuts him up. I think that's amazing. We need more movies that work like this. It's really, really shocking to me.
Right.
What did it cost per movie?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think they have a.
First
of all, you can't really break it down because they shot all of them at once.
That's what I'm saying. So what did they get?
I don't know, and they haven't finished yet.
Yeah, like I feel like
they were trying to ask. They were trying to ask Linda. I was like, well, how much of this have you finished? What are you doing? And it's like, I can't say anything, or I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, like I'm sure that someone somewhere knows how much this is costing, but the fact is, like, it's generating so much ancillary revenue already. Like, you don't want to put a bad spin on that ball. Like, it doesn't make any difference. If they're in the red right now, don't worry about it. Like, the energy is there. We're going to clean up.
Yeah. Yes. There was only one comment that was made at something. I think Cameron said it himself, is it has to finish in the top 4 movies of all time for it to break even, which it's done.
Yeah, which it did. No, exactly.
Now, I don't know how much validity is in that comment, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I think that's the thing, is I feel like this is the kind of thing where if they want to play it, if they want to make the big time money, they gotta play it straight up front and just be like,
right.
It's working, hooray! Even if they're looking at the fucking balance sheet going, oh my god, how are you ever going to pay for this?
Yeah.
But he's always gotten grief. Titanic, a lot of executives were giving him a lot of grief.
Oh yeah, I mean they had to split two studios.
But he is beyond Titanic at this point.
Yeah, but even like Titanic, like you have to say, like for the amount of money that Titanic made, it was an extremely streamlined production. Like he did everything he could to deliver that specific movie as under budget as possible. It's just that the budget has to be ridiculous in order to produce that movie.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting to think about the fact that when he started it, this is a Fox film, right? So Fox, I believe, produced the first one. But when he started this, Fox was an independent. And then it got bought by Disney halfway through this production.
I would not want to be on that ride, boy.
Can you imagine?
That messed up a lot of stuff. So like
I think the only thing that Fox didn't mess with was Avatar. Mm-hmm. Although I think they kind of did. Like there's a lot of there's some tentacles of Disney going on in here, right?
Yep.
Not to do the whole in the water thing, but I'm almost certain that Disney was looking at, like we need to have more franchises. Let's get Avatar because Avatar to ride at Disneyland is going to be huge.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's an entire another generation of people that are.
Yeah, they can build a whole new theme park based on this. Yeah, because that's where their money comes from, right? It's theme parks. It's more theme parks than it is the movies.
Yeah, movies they're advertisements. Yeah,
they're advertisements.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, that's why they're looking into Star Wars
and the ships
and ships.
Yeah. And you mean the cruise ships, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, they took such a bath with COVID. Like they want to double down on recouping everything, and they're
amazing if you think about it. Like their one point of failure is that everything they do, theme parks, ships, movie theaters, are all based on crowds coming together.
Right.
And all of those got hit by it, right?
Yeah. And it would have that, it did a number on them. And but they managed
Streaming
to weather
was the only thing they tried to save it.
Exactly. That's what held it together. And so I think you're right. I think they're looking at Avatar, like we need to make sure we cover the point spread on this thing. Like we really gotta make a good bet. Because like Star Wars, they're aware that Star Wars is very wobbly.
Very wobbly now.
And so like they want to try to
oversaturated wobbly.
Yeah, they've just not done a very good job with quality control. They're aware of that, and they're trying to tighten that ship up right now because that's a big investment for them that they need to keep on paying off. And Avatar's got to be part of that plan. It's just like we need to balance our production on this stuff.
But you know what's going to happen? Cameron is not going to sell the Avatar rights the way that Lucas sold the Star Wars rights.
Way. That's not even his baby. That's him.
Yeah,
that is
selling
his own
soul.
ego.
Right?
Yeah, it's impossible. Like that's himself. But yeah, no, I think it's really curious because like Disney really couldn't have messed up Star Wars more. Like they did everything they could to
Kathleen Kennedy.
It's it was a perfect storm of like bad faith from fans and like bad business decisions and like no strong leadership in terms of what the flavor of the thing should be. And like, it just fell apart until they finally had to get Jon Favreau in there to be like, John, please make us the most McDonald's version of this you can so we can get everything back on track. And they've done that, but they're still paying the price. So, like Avatar, I think they're going to be a little bit more circumspect in terms of like let Cameron do his thing. He obviously knows how to make this fucking work, and he's going to deliver the people to our theme park. Like they're not going to be making Avatar babies anytime soon,
right? Yeah, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. That was being, yeah. Anyway, so now the story is basically that the kids are sort of growing up together. They're being mocked and teased by the ocean kids, who specifically there's twin boys. Yes,
twin boys. Well,
twin boys.
Yeah.
An older boy and the adopted girl.
Yep.
Right. And one of the twin boys is rebellious and constantly getting in trouble, right? And the older boy, who really, to me, I mean, it was very obvious that he wasn't going to make it because he was kind of a vessel.
Sure. Of course, yeah. I mean,
he has zero personality.
Exactly. He's going to die.
Well, like in symbolic terms, he is the copy of Sully, right? And this is the part of Sully that he has to lose,
right?
So he can grow up because the person who has to grow up really is Sully.
Yeah.
Right. And so like this
and he
is
has to know how to have empathy for his son.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And so like that's the other son recaptures like what Sully is about in a new and appropriate way. And that's what represents his growth. And so like I think that's like it's that kind of stuff just in terms of screenwriting that I'm just like, thank Christ somebody knows how fucking characters work.
Right.
I can't watch. It's like I put it up on Discord. Maybe the worst scene I've seen in a popular film in 20 years is the dinner table scene in Black Widow, where they have nothing to do but just give their character backstories as monologues. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm not paying people to do this.
Oh God.
These are your character notes. This is not a story.
My story is this.
It's just like, Jesus Christ. It's like we talked about before with Jaws. Like one of the great monologues of all time is Quint talking about the Indianapolis.
Right.
The reason why that's the great monologue of all time is not because I am desperate to know Quint's backstory. It's because he is saying, I am afraid of this shark. That is what the scene is about.
Speaking of when I was watching Birds this morning, and I noticed like there are some characters in there that reminded me of like Quint and other characters in Jaws. Just the way they were sitting around in the diner and kind of in the third act of the film. I was like, God, that's just
fucking love the Birds is a unique,
the diner before the gas station catches on
masterpiece scene. Masterpiece.
Yeah, and it was like Quint, and I was like, God, I've seen this scene
before.
Before.
The old lady, there's the birding lady.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
the ornithologist, and I was like, God, is this reminds me of Jaws? And I'm so tired from this job I just finished. I was like, just
absolutely
spacing out. I was like, this reminds me of Jaws. And I was just thinking, because you mentioned Quint, I was going to I know you love that movie.
I could
Jaws or Birds?
Both. But yeah, Birds. Yeah. Like I mean,
so funny. I like all the animals.
All the animal movies. Exactly. Willard, Ben, anything you need. All that stuff. But no, like
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Exactly. It's got a dragon. It doesn't have a dragon.
It's got a tiger.
But that is the kind of like the Birds has the kind of screenwriting that I'm talking about, where I'm just like, it's so well built, you don't even realize what it's doing to you.
Right.
And it's like I could easily make an hour-long video of my love for the Birds. You're absolutely right. It has the same quaint love, 100%.
Yeah. Jason put Moby Rickard because he doesn't want to get flagged for using the term dick again.
Exactly.
That's funny. Okay, where were we?
I'm going to go get a coffee refill if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, you go ahead and get your coffee refill.
I need a pep.
Did you ever watch the comedy group Whitest Kids Alive?
Oh, Whitest Kids, Yeah, it's great.
When they redid the scene from Jaws where he's giving the speech about the Indianapolis. Do you remember that one?
Yes, so fucking funny, dude. Yeah. Oh my God, the Whitest Kids,
Just look it up on YouTube, guys. It's just Whitest Kids Alive.
Let's see if I can get it. I'm trying to find it.
And if I put it in our chat, it's just hilarious. I'm not gonna spoil it. You just watch it.
Yeah. Oh my God. There it is. Came up right away. It came up right away.
Okay, put it in our Discord chat. But if you're listening to this, post that. Just look up
Whitest Kids Jaws.
Jaws.
That'll get it. Yeah, put it in Discord right now.
Yep. Don't spoil it. It's funny. We're spoiling all of Avatar, but I don't want to spoil this stupid skit.
Doesn't truly matter. Like Avatar, it's not like Avatar isn't predictable. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And which, not to go off my other favorite rant of all time, but tropes are good. You just have to do them well.
Sure.
That's the requirement of tropes, is that if you do them well, you're home free. If you do them poorly, we will make fun of you terribly. Right. But this is jam-packed with tropes, and they're all extraordinarily well done.
Yeah. I should, if Brady comes by again, I want him to come by. He saw Cocaine Bear.
Oh, no way. Oh my God. I'm dying to see that.
I want to get his 30-second review of Cocaine Bear at some point.
I would love for Brady to come by and do a 30-second review anytime we do the show. Yeah. I think that'd be a magnificent thing. Yeah, here's Cocaine Bear.
He said it was really funny. It wasn't scary, but he said there was a trailer to some movie he saw before that really messed him up.
Oh, nice. Oh, I can't wait.
He said, "I was like that. Just a trailer of that one was worse, way worse than Cocaine Bear."
Well, this is the thing. I said this on Twitter. I was just like, I am so thankful for all the movies that I should not have seen because I was too young to see them.
Right.
Because they made me love movies.
Yes. Well, I tell you, one of them is actually Fantastic Planet for me because I saw that when I was like 7.
Yeah. Same. That movie is fucking bananas. It's still like watching it again. I was like, this still freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's
like,
disturbing.
It's a disturbing movie.
Really disturbing.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters. Well, I'm going to wait for Eric to come by, so we'll get to Fantastic Planet. But we are definitely going to be talking about Fantastic Planet before
that movie made a big impact on me.
I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah. And especially like
you still say that today, no matter what age you are.
The first time I saw Fantastic Planet, I saw it like when I was saying about Lawrence of Arabia, I saw it on a super shitty little television, and it makes it even creepier and stranger.
Yeah.
Like when you're watching it like it's crappy, fuzzy TV, like you really feel like you've tuned into some pervy dream. It's incredible. It's incredible. So yes, I'm all on board the Fantastic Planet train.
Yeah. Okay, so Eric's seen the movie, so we can keep going on some of the things. But the big thing is that the kid who's slightly outcast from both his family and from everyone else gets sent on like a snipe hunt, should we call it?
Mm-hmm, right.
Like that type of thing, right? Yep. Where they go out hunting in areas that are too dangerous, and then they abandon him there all alone, right? And so he doesn't get to be able to, and as he's abandoned there, he's attacked by basically a giant shark. And he is saved by a whale.
Yes.
Essentially a whale. I'm just going to call it a whale, even though it's not a whale.
It's a whale. Yeah, it's a whale.
It's a whale. So it turns out that there's a whole population of these whales, or a whole slew of these whales, and they are being hunted for their whale oil just by humans.
I don't even know if it's oil. It's brain oil, and it shows how pathetic. And I'm sorry, I just took a break. I just finished a long job and exhausted. I need to pep up.
No sweat.
But these beautiful creature that's tons and tons, and they just grab something the size of like a can of tuna fish. It's just so
exactly
pathetic.
Well, I think it's like it just but
that kind of storytelling is great because it gets to the point.
It gets to the point, but they make it super simple. Like it's like this whole thing. This is again what part is like the whole thing is just about this because you know what? It helps DH people.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, it's entirely straightforward. It's like the unobtainium for the first one. Now it's the new.
This was better than unobtainium.
Unobtainium,
and also unobtainium is much more face slappy.
You notice that most characters in films that deliver that kind of story about humans being how horrible, these moments where. Selfish. It's always an Englishman who has a cigar or something, right? There's always
he's Australian. He's definitely Australian.
I they got Jermaine Clement to do this bit.
But the point is, it's never an American. It's always somebody.
It's always this,
like the Quint type. It's just.
Well, what's really like this entire first of all, my favorite character in the movie is this whale.
I love the whale.
I love the whale. I love when they use the whale later.
Character.
Every time you showed up, I was like, the whale's back. I was so excited.
Right. The little thing of backstory, the whales has a relationship with the Na'vi who live on the water. They have this bond that they have with each other, and they migrate and they reconnect all the time, and they talk to each other. The whale also has this strange thing where apparently they are smarter than humans or than the Na'vi in some ways.
Yes, someone have something to say about that. Go ahead.
Okay. And they had a war and a lot of people were killed and they decided to never, ever, ever, ever be violent ever again.
Yes.
No matter what. And that's the premise of this whole thing. Because that's why the whale hunting is actually fairly easy because they never fight back.
Because they're so passive. Yeah, right. Exactly.
But Fantastic Planet is kind of running on the same.
Oh yeah, it's very bad.
There's a lot of trust me. There's a lot of crossover. Now, granted, we are always a group of people who seem to make crossovers of things that
have no business.
Have no business.
This is it. This is true.
But this one I feel is very direct.
Business.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
but this specific whale killed the shark. And turns out he is an outcast of that tribe. So just like the boy, he's an outcast, and the boy is an outcast. They're both outcasts, and there is their bond.
It sounds hokey, but this is why the machine works. Everything is a different scaled version of the same story.
Yes.
Like when you do that, it's called theme.
Yeah, no, it's
good.
Very good. It's very good that they are bonding on that specific aspect, right?
Yes.
And so it's a very special thing. So in there, everyone's like, you cannot talk to him. He is an outcast. He is very dangerous because he has killed, right? The other ones don't kill. This is, someone who's taken his immense power as a whale and used it to kill things.
Yes.
Right? So that's the main thing. So that's the relationship that happens there. Obviously, the outcast situation happens, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, the sergeant is starting to form a bond with Spider, but at the same time, he's also acting completely horribly in burning down villages to find Sully. Sully? No.
Sully. Yeah.
Sully. Yes, it is Sully. Yep. Right? So he's burning down villages to find him and sort of being a horrible person. But you can also tell that he's trying to bond with the kid and they are starting to form a relationship.
Right. So and this is causing some very complex character relationships for a Cameron film. Like some of the most complex stuff he's ever done is between these two characters.
Yes. So the young kid is somewhat helping his father, but also rebelling against him.
But he doesn't know.
He doesn't know. Right. And then the father is starting to feel empathetic towards his son, but also being bad. So there's, and you're right. Yeah. This is the first time that you've seen a character that's not so black and white in each of them.
It's fascinating because I can't think of another Cameron film that has the
everybody's
depth of a relationship. Yeah, exactly. This is the one where it's
especially he takes the guy who's the most bad person of the first film, it's clearly the bad guy, and starts to twist it.
And now the way that they do this, the way he does this, is still very in your face, blunt, chunky dialogue Cameron.
100%.
But the effect of it for the story is very complex.
Yes.
And it makes you, I have complex feelings about this guy now in a way that I've never had in a Cameron film, which I have to compliment him for. It's really great.
Yep. And he still has that, I'm a sergeant, I'm a soldier.
Yeah, still doing the shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that actor. Anyway, he's always I love that shtick he does. It's super, super fun.
It's very good.
This is the first time that I've really taken him seriously as a dimensional character. And it's really,
because he always plays like what's the name of that actor? The guy who played the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, he's like the new Arlie Ermy. 100%. Yeah, absolutely true.
But
and he's terrific at it. He's great at it.
He's very good at it.
Yeah.
But he's always kind of a caricature. And this one, suddenly the caricature starts to break a little bit.
It gets a little bit weird. The fact that he's a Na'vi, and his body is a Na'vi, and he is still anti-Na'vi,
but
is a complex thing to say.
But he does. There's a great scene where he's in the interrogation room with the kid, and he talks about his son's I haven't seen. He's like, I'm not your dad. The man who's dead, that was your dad. I'm not your dad. I have his memories, but I'm not him.
Right.
Clearly.
Right. Yeah.
And he looks, and so suddenly I'm,
but you kind of are.
But you kind of are, right?
You're right. I'm not. What? Wait.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. It's really clever.
It's
very clever.
The effect is very subtle, and the thing is, the reason why it's a subtle effect is because all the complexity and depth is happening within me thinking about it. And he's showing these things to you visually, and it makes you feel strange.
Right.
And so when Eric says this movie worked for me visually, I think that's what you mean. It's the story is told visually.
That's right.
All the complexity of the story isn't the written spoken part.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that's happening in me from watching the movie.
I'm more of a fan of.
I hate to use this term, but eye candy has been used disparagingly towards movies. It's all eye candy, it doesn't have a story. This has both.
This has both. This 100% has both.
And one wouldn't work without the other. If you didn't have the eye candy, the story would be kind of shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
as we've already established,
it's but they comment, and at the same time, if you didn't have, if you didn't have that story, it would just be, here's an example. I hate to use this, but Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, God.
Jurassic World has no
PTSD.
Story, but a ton. Jurassic World.
Endless effects.
Beautiful visual effects.
Gorgeous, fantastic.
But nothing to support it.
And that movie, that last movie was as...
Dominion?
Dominion was I was just I was like, I may have to bail from the watch party. I can't. It's so horrifyingly terrible.
Right.
Like and everyone involved, like even the director is a very good director. I've liked his movie. I really love.
They're just phoning it in.
Like,
make sure the ride works. You just got to give us
That's
10 shots so that we can put it into the ride.
Like
That's what
just
it is.
pure garbage. And I was shocked.
I heard Ant-Man 3 is another one.
No, you can't even do that stuff anymore. I love Paul
Brady
Rudd.
saw that too.
I can't wait for the reviews.
All right,
let's do it.
I'll call him in at some point and he can go those reviews.
But yeah, so I wanted to say my piece about the whale. First of all, the whale is an action hero in this movie. It's amazing.
Yes.
But also this movie has a great how can I say it? Like, it's a really clever slap that I was very appreciative of. Like, there's like there are a few movies and a few this actually happened to me recently. I'll put this in terms of a video game. I played a really great video game that my daughter loves called After Party. And it's about like being like it's a fun setup where you're going to hell or you're trying to escape hell by eventually out drinking the devil, right? And it's like
Charlie Daniels,
Charlie
down in Georgia.
Right. And there's
Naked
you,
lunch.
right? And there's you, and then there's your buddy who is traveling with you the whole time. And the movie and the game sort of sets it up so you have to make choices whether to help certain people or not. Blah blah blah. And almost all these choices, I didn't realize the buddy is saying like, "Can't we just leave? Can't we just blah 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 blah?" And in the end of the game, it sort of reveals like I was picking the heroic choice the whole time, right? Mm-hmm. And in the end of the game, it goes, "So you wanted to be the hero so bad that you kept your friend in hell." And you're kind of a selfish fucking prick because you wanted to look so good. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm an asshole. And I was just like, this is amazing. This movie did this as well because as soon as like he meets the whale, right? And he is like, I'm going to start talking to the whale, right? Mm-hmm. That's when I was just like, oh, fuck. This is where the movie goes off the rails because like, we're going to be so in touch with the whales that I can just like be Star Trek 4 kind of stuff. God bless Star Trek 4. But I think that's what I was just like, fuck, great. It's going to go that far. We're going to start like, can understand sign language with the whales. Right. And I was like, fuck you. And then it turns out that the whales have a language, are alien creatures that are smarter than us. I was like, oh, I'm the asshole. Yeah. Like he turns me into the dick that the movie is trying to defeat. Yeah. It says you made this broad assumption about this creature simply because of the way that it looks. And you're just like, fuck this movie because of the way that it looks. Yeah. And he turns around and he's like, no, they have a full language. They have entire fucking history that like with all this stuff. And we are the simple animals compared to this. And I was like, motherfucker. It totally got me on board.
I gotta say the other thing that is very successful in this, because there is a whale hunting scene that is very traumatic.
Oh, it's incredible. Incredible. Right? Best scene in the movie for me is it's horrifying.
Horrifying. And what he did, and he did the same thing in the first Avatar. He used that same soundtrack of the da-da-da, the dramatic, you know? Right. And whoever did the score of that, it just works so well. Like by the time this happens and you see all this death and destruction, you're like, no!
I'm also going to talk like about how great the ending is and how great the action is. But like I've seen great action from Cameron. It's not a surprise that it's great action. It's great action. However, this just as a short film is something that people should see because it is explicit.
Not short. It's 3.5 hours.
No, just the sequence with the whale and hunting the whale is basically its own little short story.
Yes.
in within the movie.
It is.
And it is absolutely horrifying. It is like makes no bones about it being a literal representation of something that we still do.
Yes.
That is horrifying and useless. And I was just like, this is, and it made me ill, and it was fantastic.
And it is also reflected in Fantastic Planet.
And it is also from Fantastic Planet. That's exactly true. But it's a brilliant, beautiful, and very responsible thing to have done with this movie. And I was knocked out. It was one of my favorite bits of the whole film. Yeah. Really, really incredible. Terrifying. Cruel beyond belief.
Cruel. You see the ultimate cruelty to it. And it was interesting that they had the quote unquote biologist on there who was like, ugh.
Yeah. He's just like,
and the spider's looking at it going, oh, this is horrible. Like everyone is just like, this is terrible.
Yeah. We're murdering a person and it's going to take 20 minutes. here we
Yeah.
go. Like, we're just going to dissect this person.
We're
Yeah.
going to murder somebody, and it's going to take 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's fucking,
They've
that's
got a
what it felt like.
whole beautiful system that's choreographed around this, and don't worry, no one's going to get hurt because they don't fight back.
Yeah, don't worry. It's like, yeah, exactly. They're just going to lay down and let us cut them apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Brutal.
it's a phenomenal sequence. And I think it's like one of these things I'm just like, they should just show this in high schools. Like, it was,
No, it'll
it's-
get banned because
It's
too
fucking
woke.
traumatic.
It's way
It's
too
like
woke.
PTSD stuff for sure. It's unbelievable. This is bullshit. Someone's got to stand up and fight for the rights of the fucking yokels that are going to get offended. Nobody? Oh, it's
Nobody?
a fun movie.
Oh.
It's a fun and beautiful movie with something really important to say.
Okay, so basically, this is what happens. Everyone gets traumatized from the whole situation. But what ends up happening at some point is that the bad guys close in.
Bad guys goes in.
Bad guys close
Dark
in,
Side
so
of the Soul.
they're coming in, and so they have to go find. They have to go. Find. Oh, I don't remember all the details, and it's been several, like a couple months since I've seen the movie, and so I'm just going through memory, and obviously I haven't seen it recently. But basically, a bunch of the kids get kidnapped, and they end up on the whaling ship. Not kidnapped or captured.
Yep.
End up on the whaling
for
ship.
barter. They're basically they're
Be
trying to
held
get
hostage,
held hostage. Just
Held
saying,
hostage, and so the Na'vi are going after them to try to save them. And that is, all kinds of all the Na'vis, not just Sully and what's her name. And it turns into a giant battle that is initiated by the whale, the rebellious whale,
Yes.
who because he's the only one who fights back.
He's like, fuck you. Here we go.
Fuck you, and
I'm
just,
a whale.
I'm a whale, and I can destroy this ship. And they're like, and they're not used to that because they know, like, there's no way they don't even fight back. They don't. And this one does, and
Yes.
severely, which causes
And it's a metaphor for what like is actually happening globally in the movie, where it's sort of like they like you think like as the evil corporate people, oh, we got this under control, and
Right.
then no, this is a big beautiful organized life form,
Right.
and if it actually flexed its power, you would not even be an issue anymore.
Right.
It's great. It's just great.
So the whale destroys or doesn't destroy the ship, but turns it into the Titanic.
President Titanic.
yeah, that was
It's like
absolutely the Titanic.
it's
But
Titanic,
it's
but
well shot. It
it's
was
awesome.
beautiful.
Oh,
it's like it's greatest hits Cameron. It's like it's
It
Titanic
is-
plus like a Poseidon adventure version of the Titanic.
It is
I'm in.
insane, and I'm just thinking about it because there's
The
part of it is
textures.
live action with Spider,
Yeah.
and then just the choreography, just storyboarding this whole thing, or however the heck
How they
it
did
is
it.
so challenging.
It's like just as because like I said, I'm an okay fan of the first Avatar. It's a pretty good movie. I don't hammer on it like other people
This
do.
is
I think
way better.
this is so much better. It's
The
almost
world's
hard
more
to describe.
convincing too.
Everything, and it the ending of this movie, the last like 40 minutes of this movie are an action scene, and I was just like, I forgot how fucking good he is at this.
Yeah.
Like he's carrying like 6 different threads. Everything is ultra high action. It's so big and well designed and well integrated. Then you can follow all of it. It's all breathtaking, and it's all, and the fact that it's all fake, that's all artificial. I just can't even
not
feel
all.
that.
That's the thing
Yeah,
that's
sure.
even more amazing. I mean, honestly speaking, it's a little bit how I think about. Remember, in Fury Road, right? And they were talking. It's like there's it's all practical, and it's clearly not
it's-
all practical,
No,
right?
no. Like
It's clearly not all practical. And what I think was so good about Fury Road is that it's clearly not practical, and the CG and the practical are blended so well together.
Yes.
I love that film.
Makes the
Yeah, it's one of the
CG
best films
and the
ever.
practical so incredible. Like, it's because they can make that work. And that's the same thing, the same way I feel about the original Jurassic Park, right? And like Jurassic Park is like, no one had ever done anything like that. And the fact that you can't tell which shot is a practical dinosaur and which one is not,
Yep.
or you can if you really look closely. Yeah.
I mean, just the-
an
like the-
inversion. Jason said exactly an inversion of the first Jurassic Park effect, and it's exactly right. It's so well
It's seamless.
executed.
Because the thing that, like, no matter what you're doing, like, you don't want to knock the audience out of their heart and into their head.
Right.
Like, once you're aware of the tech and all you're thinking about is the tech, then you're no longer caring about what's happening, and the movie's going to get boring really quickly.
Right.
You know, you can understand that something is CG, but if you're in the movie, you're not going to care.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And keeping that fluid is extremely difficult thing to do.
I just remembered there's a young girl. There's a younger girl who is the most vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to be like
the youngest one.
Like 8 or something like that, or like equivalent to 8 or something like that. And I thought it was really funny that they called it out in the movie because they keep getting away and keep getting caught again.
Oh, they hang a lantern on this one. Yeah, it's pretty
and
good.
They did a really good job because it's like,
again.
And the girl's like, I can't believe I'm caught again. Exactly. And she says that line and she says it really well, and to the point where like, okay, I'm like, really? Are you going to keep catching these kids over and over and over again?
As long as they're aware of it, I'll give them one more pass. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I'm enjoying myself. I'm like, as long as the screenwriter doesn't think they're getting away with something, then I'm going to keep on the ride.
But it helps move everything along because the what's going on, just to give people a think, this ship is slowly sinking. So the topography is changing constantly. Yes. Right? Yeah. What used to be up is down. What's down is up. And now what's underwater is dry. What's like everything is upside down in this thing. Yep. And it's very, very hard and complicated to keep track of what's going on. But you do follow along. You're like there, like
you totally understand the physics of what's happening makes sense. The map of what is happening is coherent. And you understand how people are connected to one another, even though they're in totally separate parts of that action.
No. Right.
Yeah, and then there's done.
The other thing that's also really cool about it is that the kids, because they've been hanging out with the other adolescent kids, have learned to hold their breath underwater for longer, right? And so the adults don't know how to do that.
Right. And that becomes both a point of tension, right? And a thematic underscoring.
Right.
Like that this generation has adapted in ways that the old shitheads have not.
Right.
You know, like that's a thing you're saying. That's a thing that is being said by the movie, and it's reinforcing it with physical action and tension.
Right.
Like that's how to make a fucking movie.
Right.
Like that's like have everything underscores your theme. That's the idea.
I just remembered the other line that really bothered me of like, you know, overstating the obvious or something that doesn't sound right at all is when they go into the lab to visit and Spider says, you know what sucks? The fact that you can breathe my air for like minutes without suffering and I can only last 10 seconds. It's like, I think they know that.
Yeah, like, I'm sure they're aware.
I'm sure they're aware.
I think everybody in this room knows this, yes?
Yes, but they could have found another way to make that explanation 100%, as opposed to that 100%. Hokey line that's clearly like,
that's Band-Aid dialogue right there. You just like, you type it and you go like, we'll fix that later. And then they just don't.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, whatever. And in truth, it is fun. It's just like, I'd love it if they would polish that kind of shit out there. That's fine. But like the rest of the movie is working great. So it doesn't really make any difference. But it's like, it's that kind of stuff where you're just like, well, it's like, one of the worst movies in the 90s is Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche in Volcano.
What are you talking about?
Like, and
I don't like the guy walking in the on the lava as he's trying to save
hilarious.
the kid.
It's hysterical. Like, because there's Volcano and then there was Dante's Peak, and I didn't go to see Dante's Peak because I thought that was going to be the dumb one.
This is the time. This is the thing where when they made Deep Impact and Armageddon at the same time,
and all this stuff. There are all these, like, someone was leaking a lot from studio to studio, and like Dante's Peak is also an incredibly stupid movie, but it's at least a kind of fun, incredibly stupid movie. Whereas Volcano is just
not. Just the one with Dalton.
Yeah.
No, it's Dante's Peak has James Bond Goldeneye. What's his name? Not
Bronson.
Dalton. Pierce Brosnan. And but in Volcano at the end, it's the volcano in Los Angeles, and like everything's burnt down, and you see people coming up out of the hole, and they're all covered with ash, and so everyone's just covered with ash, and like this dubbed in kid, like the kid's like pointing, and you hear this kid dubbed in going, "All of the people look the same."
I forgot about that line.
It's like, oh. Like, the only way to make that better is if someone slaps him really hard and goes, never say that again. We all understood the metaphor, kid. Believe me. Yeah. Boy, no lantern you can hang on that one. But yeah, so like there's some clunkers in this movie. Can't say that it's flawless, but the overall effect is phenomenal.
The Long Good Friday's Pierce Brosnan. The Long Good Friday.
Yeah. The Long Good Friday is Pierce Brosnan. The young Pierce Brosnan is the assassin in Long Good Friday. That's absolutely true.
Oh, right.
And he's fucking great too. Man, that movie is good. Boy, that movie is good. I was thinking about that just the other day.
We did a whole podcast on it.
We did a podcast on it. And for anybody who hasn't seen that movie, first of all, see that movie. Second of all, listen to our podcast. And third of all, know that it has one of my all-time favorite final lines with "Where's Victoria?"
Oh, right.
See the movie and you'll see why that's an important line.
Queen Victoria. Yes. We talk about it all the whole time. Blah, blah,
so
blah,
good.
blah, blah,
Where's
blah.
Victoria? Incredible film.
Go back to the Long Goodbye.
Long Good Friday.
Long
Bob
Good
Hoskins.
Friday. Not The Long Goodbye. That's a different film.
That's another incredible film. Another one of my favorites. But yeah, like that. It also has the most seamless, best guy gets in the car and it explodes shot I have ever seen. So there's lots of reasons
Guy
to see
gets
that.
in car, explode shot.
Yeah,
This sounds like an awards dinner. Best guy gets in car, explode shot.
Like the Razzie Award winner for that is
And
when
the winner
De Niro
is-
gets in the car in the beginning casino and turns into a department store mannequin and then the car explodes.
I know. Always, yes, not the best way to start your film. I know. I
It was
remember
a
that.
slightly shaky footing right there. Luckily, I had a Saul Bass opener to keep me romantic. I felt good, but
We need some AI to fix that shot.
no, I swear to God. I mean, now I wouldn't change it because it's fucking amazing. Every time I see it, and just like he gets in, he's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna get in my car." Just like that's incredible, dude. But yeah, in Long Good Friday, like it is literally seamless. Like guy goes to do, and the car goes go boom, and the same. I'm just like, I don't know how they did that. That's like
Editing.
the best, best.
Good editing.
In any case, so the ending of Avatar 2.
Ending of yes. So this whole scenario happens. The older boy, who is slightly vapid, but also like clearly the rule follower and the one that tries to get the other ones out of trouble, dies. Dies in the process. Everyone's very traumatized by this whole situation, by his death. But while that's happening, Spider helps that situation, but he also saves his own father.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And this, like the effect of the sun dying, which is one of the best things in the movie, is that it turns Neytiri into the Terminator. And when she vengefully...
She goes vengeful.
When she goes full vengeance on that ship, that is one of the most exciting things I've seen in many years. Like,
Old vengeance
it's
on that
so
ship.
much fun to see her kill so many people with a bow and arrow. It's outlandish. Absolutely terrific.
Yeah. Well, we knew she had it in her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like, she does some cool shit in the first one, but this is just outstanding. Like when she has the bow knocked, someone attacks her, she stuffs the arrow through somebody and then fires it through their body into another person.
That was one of the best parts of the film, honestly.
But
That
she's
was
also
cool.
an expert at taking out those helicopter things too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. God, she's like, if I was playing the video game, I want to play her. I don't give a fuck about Jake Sully. Screw that dude. Play Neytiri. Like,
is there a video game out for this?
There is a video game coming out for this that actually looks quite good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, let's bring this up because this was Laloux brought this up as well. They were talking about the VR experience of Avatar, and he goes, there's a difference. Well, right, this is what it was. Someone was talking about the cinematic experience of Avatar,
right?
And then someone said, well, how do you compare that to like VR experience, right? And VR, he said, is VR is about you experiencing it as opposed to it put onto you. Like, so you need to have a third person narrative that's being told to you for the cinematic experience.
Yeah,
and it was very
it needs to be passive.
Yeah,
it's a passive
and
experience.
even though it's very immersive, they're both immersive, but there's a different kind of immersion that happens in these
100%,
things, right?
yeah.
And I got to say, like, especially when you do the IMAX experience, right, where the screen is so huge and everything else. I think especially those underwater shots are like I felt like I was there, you know?
Yeah, 100%. The thing is, like, it's because I love
Except
talking
when
about
that
stuff.
idiot stood up in the front and it completely broke the 3D, and it's just
I
like,
swear
what
to
the
God,
hell is
you should
going
go
on?
to jail.
Idiots.
There should be jail time. But yeah, like the difference between these, because I think about that, I thought about that as well. I'm just like, this is what they're learning on this is going to be very useful for VR, but it is a totally different kind of immersion, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like because like the reason why like movies are even not in 3D, movies are the most immersive experience that we've come up with because they're emotionally immersive. And the reason why they can be is because they take all control away from you completely.
Sure.
And because you have no control, you project your identity into the movie itself. Like you become the movie. And it's sort of like if, when people have demon hand syndrome, and they cut the corpus callosum. You've heard of this? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
So like if someone is,
They used to
like,
do that in Central Park.
it's really insane because like if
You'd
someone
line
is,
up and they would do it for you.
yeah, like
What
it's
was this?
Jesus.
So like if you have severe schizophrenia, one of the treatments they used to do, anyway, I don't know if they still do it,
They split
is
the corpus callosum.
yeah, so the two halves of the brain are connected by the corpus callosum. And so like
Right.
they cut that in half and isolate one half of the brain. And then the other half of the brain takes control
They
of the
didn't
entire
do that
system.
in Central Park, but there was a process where they cut a little bit of
It's
your.
almost a lobotomy.
It's like a very
They
extreme
did
lobotomy.
that.
Yeah.
There was a guy that used to do that in the 20s.
Yeah.
And he would stick something in through your eye and
That's
cut
that's a lobotomy.
and cut a little bit of your inside, and people would line up and get in these massage chairs in Central Park, and he would just clip. But that's what they did. That's what Joe Kennedy Sr. did to Rosemary, the daughter, without telling the family.
It makes
he
you
shipped
quite
her to
passive.
Boston,
Yeah.
and had her corpus callosum split.
And so like because the effect of this, they isolate one chamber of the brain. And the thing is that part of the brain, the other half of the brain that isn't in control, is still an identity. It's still itself, right? And so it tries its best to take bodily control back. And so there's this thing called demon hand syndrome, where it's like this has been done and you think you're fine, but your hand starts like unbuttoning your shirt or like trying to slap your face. And that's because there's another copy of you inside your head that is trying to regain control. It's horrifying, but that's basically what's happening. And what happens over
one
time,
half has a podcast and the other half doesn't.
has to
It's like a
fucking
blog.
listen to Dan Thron talk.
I'm trying
Oh
to
my
write
God,
my
can you
blog.
imagine?
Will you shut up?
And so like the effect of that and it stops after a few weeks is because the side that is the demon hand eventually just says, it goes like, I must be having some form of hallucination. And it just sort of relaxes into the experience of the other half until it finally merges itself with the intention of the other half. That's what happens to you in a movie. Like you are relaxing control of your
But
body and
isn't the
mind so
brain,
thoroughly
like,
that you project.
astonishing that way?
No,
Because
it's incredible.
when I had my eye surgery and they put a plastic lens in for like a month and a half, 2 months or something like that, it was like what's his name? A movie where the lens flare is like, it was just lens flare.
It's
like
J.J. Abrams in your
it was
head.
an Abrams lens flare, and we're beautiful.
Right.
But everywhere I walked, I went over this eye because it was plastic. And my doctor, my surgeon in Beverly Hills, was like, "Yeah, but the brain is going to cancel it out. You'll always have it, but the brain will take it out in real time."
Yep.
And I was like,
eventually
"What?" And he's
stop paying
like, "Yeah, the
attention to it.
brain just learns to, that's not normal," and it subtracts it. So I actually
edits
still
it.
have it, but it's being subtracted in real time.
It's
But
so
you don't
fucking
see it
wild.
anymore.
You
You
don't
I
see
don't
it.
see
Yeah.
it.
That's
But
so wild.
but it was so prominent. It's literally like it was annoying.
Don't even worry
And
about
then
it.
it was like 2 months of that thing, and then finally it just slowly just was gone.
What if we do that normally, like with ghosts? Like there's ghosts all around us, but we just cancel them out.
I think I do that with Kim Kardashian.
That's actually
I'm not,
not a bad thought, Chris, because I
It's
actually
true.
I believe I've seen ghosts before. I believe that's probably something that maybe we're
that's
canceling
entirely
out.
plausible. That's entirely plausible. Like
I did that for
like,
you, Eric.
yeah, like because there may be entire things
You don't
that are
believe in
happening in the world
ghosts,
that we
but
just
I
don't
have seen
pay
ghosts
attention
in
to.
my life.
I don't see them, so they're not real.
That's because your brain's writing it out, Chris.
Your
It's
brain's
writing
writing it out.
That's true. You never know. You never do know. But in any case, yes. So she kills everybody, which is wonderful. Then she, in order to get her kid back, she takes Spider hostage and holds a knife to Spider's neck. This is Neytiri.
Right.
And says, "I will kill your kid, bad guy, if you don't let mine go."
Right.
And now this is a boy that she had been protecting as part
Raising.
of their family and raising. And she's just like, and after you've seen her react to her son's death and then murder like 25 people, and how Cameron's
He was
nicely
great.
set up that she's a little distant from this
Murder
kid.
spree. The best
Like-
character in the film was her.
Oh, it's incredible. She has a knife to this kid's neck. And I was like, if she kills him, I buy it. Like, I was just like, this is not a bluff. I would believe that she would do this right here.
Yep.
And it's
But
awesome.
it's interesting. It's interesting because the bad guy tries to like, I don't give a care, but it's not my son, right?
Right.
But then he does care.
He does care. Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
And so this is the complexity I was talking about. Because like
Yeah.
with him, it reveals that he does care, and with her, it makes me think that she doesn't.
Right.
And I'm just like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, you know how much I love Titanic. That does not happen in Titanic.
No.
Billy Zane's motivations are very clear in Titanic, and
Yep.
that's to shoot Leonardo DiCaprio for some reason.
Right.
No complexity at all.
Now we should talk a little bit about Kiri and her backstory and what she's complicated. Obviously, we already told you that she's part of Sigourney Weaver, right? So she is an offspring of her, but really think she is a reincarnation.
Yeah, she is like what it's a fascinating idea that it's Sigourney Weaver gives birth to herself.
Right.
Like she is an absolutely unique event. And so like there's a very faint.
But they don't say that specifically. They're like, I don't know who
Yeah,
the
it's
father is.
what's
but
implied. It's what's
Right.
implied, right?
And I love that character. It was real, and it was
Yeah.
just fascinated by the world. And
Yeah.
Right.
To completely terrific. And there's a just a little bit of a hint of Space Jesus to that.
There is some
makes
Space Jesus for
everything
sure.
work.
Yes.
Like her connection to the plants and the creatures and everything. Like she's
Right.
the unique being. And like I just saw a great video on this, so I'm going to quote it. Like it's there is the there's the thesis, right? Which is bad guys showing up on we must defeat the bad guys, right?
Sure.
There's the antithesis, which is we must learn to live with the earth and forget about the humans, the sky people. And she is the synthesis, right?
Right.
Which is we must become one, right? And so she is the final. He's setting up the final argument, which is like we can't simply pretend like these people don't exist, and we can't pretend that these people don't exist. We have to be one person, and
Well-
that's what she is.
Right. So, but the way that they portray that is basically she knows there's something different about her. Just like the other kid, he knows he's like a teenage rebellious thing that I'm different from his family. She knows there's something different about her, and she doesn't quite know why. But
Right.
as we've established in the first film, they commune with the nature through the trees and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when she communes with nature, it is an intense experience that almost kills her.
Yes,
Right.
Completely overwhelming, like
Completely
electrically overwhelming.
But she
kills her
says she
back.
can feel everything around her all the time, and she's
Right.
completely in awe of nature and everything that's happening. So that's kind of like the big thing for her. So that's basically the important part of her character and what she does. Then the other thing is when she she also figures out a bunch of things about it, and she's very, very calm. Like after when things get the way they do, she becomes like this calm nature as opposed to everyone else who's unbelievably emotional, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which is the irony of it, because she is the most emotional of all of them.
Right.
But her emotions are not driven by anger; they're driven by different things. And so she uses her emotional thing to her emotional side and the way that she communes with nature to basically save her adopted mother and step sister,
right,
stepsister, or whatever it is.
And he like they gently set this up visually so well that like in the end when she's taking control of the with the glowing
things,
the fish and all this kind of stuff. Like, if that had just happened out of the blue, you would have been like, this is some Gandalf bullshit, it's just too much.
Yeah, no. They established it fairly well.
They lead up to it so gently and
it was
beautifully.
Subtle. It was like we mentioned in certain parts of, go back to it, like the dialogue can be a little hokey and not so subtle, right? But this one was perfect because, again, it's the story, not the dialogue, where they basically... that she can start to have control over nature in very subtle ways that even surprises her.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, wait a minute, I can use this. And she basically, the thing is, they're trapped inside of one of a room inside of the ship that's slowly flooding. And she creates a pathway through these glowing fish that basically gives them the breadcrumbs to get out. And, and it's quite beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's emotional. It's set up properly so that you don't get caught off guard by it. And it's like this is what spending 13 years building this fucking shit work.
Was it really that long?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. It's like 2009 since Avatar, so it's amazing that this is the culmination of that. He spent his time wisely.
Well, it's past the statute of limitation, but I do remember in 2013. Maybe 13. That's when I was visiting Ben Proctor and David Levy, and they were working on concept art for this movie.
Insane.
And there was several. So Dylan Cole, and there was probably like 6 of them. And I went to Lightstorm to visit them. They didn't show me anything, by the way. They didn't show me any of the stuff. This was mainly about like they were trying to build a pipeline around this, and I was helping them do that. But yeah, they were. It was quite. That's how long ago it's been, man.
Yeah, it's really wild, dude. I mean, since Avatar came out, David Fincher has made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies and 3 series, 3 multiple season series. Yeah,
okay, how many movies has Chris Nolan made?
Chris Nolan.
Because those are also big,
Yeah, something. Yeah, the same scale. It's Chris
scale.
Nolan. Chris Nolan. Sorry, I have to write Christopher Nolan because Chris Nolan is somebody else. All right. So since 2000. Okay, so he did Inception, Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and he's finishing Oppenheimer.
I want to see Oppenheimer. That looks
great.
Yeah, they really exploded an atomic bomb for that film. It's real. It's all real. It's all real.
I would.
I hate it when they say things like that.
It's so dumb. Like I obviously love Nolan, so that's the way it goes.
They're claiming that the explosion is real.
No, I'm sure that they've done some pretty crazy stuff, but they can't actually say that they've detonated anything nuclear because there are literal treaties that keep you from doing that.
Yeah.
So that is not whatever they're saying. That is not the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he loves that. It's like,
there's no CG. I mean, like,
it's all real.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, he should take credit for some of the CG because, like, in Interstellar, they built the black hole program that creates the visuals for that black hole. Obviously, it's CG, and it's built off of the actual math that Kip Thorne built to study black holes, and it accurately predicted what a black hole looked like when they rendered it. Like, that's pretty great. So let's applaud CG. That was the first glimpse of what that would look like, and it turned out to be correct.
No, they went to a black hole.
They went to a black hole.
They
However, I would be happy if they built one of those robots and I'd buy one.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's the way it works.
That was
Yeah.
a cool robot.
However, now to be fair, I have only been a Chris Nolan superfan since. So I have actually gone from being kind of cool on Christopher Nolan to becoming a Christopher Nolan superfan since Avatar 1. That's how long it's been.
Right.
It wasn't until Interstellar
Did
that I
Cameron
started
do
liking.
anything? Did he do any kind of like documentaries about? He went underwater a
He
couple
did.
times.
Yeah,
He made
did do the-
documentaries about Titanic going down there.
Let's see.
He did re-releases of Titanic, like 2 or 3 of them.
James.
No, I think he did it. I saw a thing where he went down into.
The Mariana Trench.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he since 2009. Okay. So 2009, he co-directed Cirque du Soleil Toruk First Flight.
Okay.
What? That's strange.
And that's it. That is literally it. That's the last credit. And then it says 2016 Cirque du Soleil, 2022 Avatar: The Way of Water, 2024 Avatar 3, 2026 Avatar 4, 2028 Avatar 5.
Okay. I am going to, I need to use the restroom. I'm going to take a quick, I'm going to take a break. Bio break. You guys keep talking.
All right. Sounds good. Oh, brother. Yep. Yeah, it's fun. Because actually, it's been a little bit since I've seen Avatar 2. It's exciting to have this all come back into my brain. I really, really love that movie.
I loved it. I didn't think I would love it.
Yeah, it's I'm very impressed because both you and Chris, I freely love Titanic. Obviously, you and Chris do not, and I think that the fact that you liked Avatar 2 validates everything that you've said about Titanic. I don't agree with it, but it's not. Other people might anyone who would accuse you of being anti Cameron just for the sake of it can go, can go hang, because you're actually like the movie.
I'm not
because
saying
you
that
like
for
the
the sake of it, because I don't like it. I don't know. I just find it's like technical show off shit.
Right.
Like I got my
If there's
helicopter.
no movie there,
I know how to
there's no movie
fly.
there.
It's like,
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like there's stuff about it that just doesn't work for me.
Right.
But then he made a great film. It's a masterpiece.
Yep, that's just the way it is. That makes me proud of Martini Giant that we stick by whether the movie is good, rather than I think that many people.
I'm definitely. I know you've known me long enough. I'm not a bandwagon.
Oh, I know this, but I'm just saying for people
guy.
that listen to the show.
I just have my opinions, and they could be right or they could be wrong. But most of the time, they're really right and insightful, and that's just.
This is very true.
I also have a distinct taste, and there's some of it doesn't hit the mark for me with his work.
Absolutely, I think that's the only thing that I ever require from any talk about movies ever, is that you are liking or disliking it because of what it is, not because of whatever. I want to be cool because I don't like James Cameron, which a lot of people actually act like that, and I think that's foolish. Yeah, and I think that for anyone who doesn't know you or doesn't know you guys, would hear this and be like, oh, they don't like Titanic, they're just being blah blah blah. No, it's like you're judging the movie as the movie, and if you don't like the movie, you don't like the movie. That's the way it is. And I was just saying, Eric, I think that this validates what you guys have said about Titanic. You don't dislike Titanic because you dislike Cameron. You dislike Titanic because Titanic doesn't work for you, and that's a much different thing to say.
It's true. Now we're going to switch over to Fantastic Planet, and I've changed our backgrounds to be Fantastic Planet.
Look at this! I love it. Let's see. Look at this. I'm moving out of the way just to see the whole. Look at that.
Yeah, it is.
Beautiful.
I have other backgrounds that are. It's hard to say. But I will. I was going to text Brady to see if he can come over here and give us.
I want to ask one quick sum up for us on Avatar 2.
Yep.
Is that this is up for Best Picture?
Yes.
Top Gun is up. There's a bunch of other good movies that are up.
Yep.
If this were to win, do you feel that is a valid choice?
If it won, okay, what are the choices?
Let's see. Banshees of Inisherin, Women Talking, which I have not seen. Top Gun, Avatar 2. Let's see. All Quiet on the Western Front. Let's see for a second. I'll look it up to be sure.
Everything Everywhere.
Everything Everywhere. And now I'm not asking if it's your favorite because maybe it's Everything Everywhere. But is it a valid win? And I wonder whether people think that would be a valid win. If in chat, would you think that would be
Well, Casey says he wants to hate the new Top Gun, but everyone says he love it. Yeah, I think Casey, I got to tell you,
I loved it.
I got to tell you, and we're cynical people. You know that. Go see it, Casey. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
I like that movie.
Yep. Yeah, that is a terrific.
And I wanted to not like Avatar, but I still do.
But it's here we are. That's what it is.
Okay, and the other one, but I think if Avatar won, would it be? You know what would make me happy?
It's legit enough to win.
It's legit enough to win.
Right.
I think
maybe not your favorite.
Avatar, between Avatar and Top Gun, I would say Avatar probably would be the bigger win. But I think the Academy is going to lean towards something like All Quiet on the Western Front or something like that.
Yeah, so it's All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Banshees, Elvis, which I forgot about, Everything Everywhere, The Fabelmans, Spielberg's movie, Tar, Top Gun, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking.
They have too many films for top story.
That's a lot. I mean, I have not seen a lot of these movies.
Have you seen Fabelman?
I haven't yet. I'm dying to see Fabelman.
I'm actually. Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, but they used to be. I am a little bit nostalgic. I hate to say it. For the time during when the Oscars used to be like what was best film and what was a popular film would tend to be. Could live in the same world.
Live in the same world, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like Tootsie was one of the examples we have, and so
like Unforgiven, Silence of the Lambs. There's the things where people just go like, yeah, there we go.
Rain Man. You know,
these are actual good movies that from that crop deserve to win.
So I'm a little bit nostalgic for that time because it should be the same. But someone had mentioned to me, I forgot, it was either the VES Awards or I don't know. I've been on a whirlwind of things. But they said, I would like to nominate a new category in the Oscars that specifically celebrates spectacle films.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And it's like, I don't think that's, I don't know. It's because it's just all go to, I don't know. There's something. Here's what I was excited about this year is the movies that the spectacle films that got the most attention were not Marvels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Star Wars.
And they were really good fucking movies.
And they were good movies, right?
Yeah. Like that's,
so the fact
that
this year Top Gun and Avatar came out, I think that's something worth celebrating. And I'm excited. And if the Academy gives them something there.
Yeah, because I think that I don't think that either Top Gun or Avatar are going to win. However, like this list,
they could. I don't know. Here's why I'm giving it a 20% chance that they're going to win. I think
Top Gun?
Top Gun or Avatar?
I think Top Gun's going to win.
Well,
that'd be interesting. Like I'll be honest. I think these are both absolutely valid movies to win.
Here's why I think you're right that Top Gun may win, Eric, is that Spielberg went to Tom Cruise and said, "Thanks for saving Hollywood."
They're going to look at it as
that's rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to say we should celebrate movies like this more often.
Yeah, because the thing is, I only want what I hate is movies that are important but not well made. Like that's a drag. When movies like that win, where I'm just like, this is a bad movie, but we all have to say it's great because we all agree with it, is one of the worst experiences that I can sit through.
Give me an example.
There's lots of movies like this. It's just sort of like
Oscar bait,
Oscar bait movies. And the thing is, the reason why. Let's say again.
Gator.
Okay. I would say yes, Gator, but I love Gator in a special way, in a special Burt Reynolds way. But like Club. There are movies like this all over the place. And the thing is, like, the reason why I can't stand them is because nobody who doesn't agree with you likes them. And so the only people that are watching them are the people that also agree they're bad, but they just want to all agree together. And I think that that's a real pain in the ass. Like, make movies. If you're going to make something that means something, then make it really well so you convince people with it.
It's also, here's the thing, and I hate to sort of throw the political thing back because we got to get to the other movie.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But the political thing, but this is one of the reasons why the right hates Hollywood is because the left keeps making these movies that
garbage movies that we congratulate ourselves for.
Yes, because it makes you feel better for yourself. And then we keep lecturing everyone about it during the Oscars.
Yes.
And of course it's going to piss off the right.
Yeah, and it makes everyone feel like
by the way, I've done nothing wrong. As you know, I'm a fairly left-leaning person myself. But at the same time, it's not helping. It's not helping the hatred and the division, right?
Right.
And
if you want to help, make everything everywhere all at once.
Yes.
That's a fucking brilliant movie with a super progressive message. And it's like, it's almost impossible to not be won over by the movie. It doesn't matter what your politics are going in. Like, the movie's going to win because the movie's really fucking good. Like, that's it. Like, that is your responsibility as a filmmaker, is to make a great movie. You have an opinion, you have a thing you want to say it with all of your heart, and I'm behind you. Right?
Yep.
And I think that that's true for Everything Everywhere. I think it's true for Avatar, which is a very globally political movie, and says it incredibly well. And in a weird way, I think that Top Gun is it's an apolitical movie in terms of actual world politics, but it's really saying something about a vision of this whole business. And what movies are about, and it's sort of a unifying idea that we're all getting back on the same page about, and it's a vision of that I really support. So all those movies, I think, are it's the fact that they're extraordinarily well made that makes me feel like if these win, I'm all for it, right? Meanwhile, and I know people who have worked on this, and it's a very good movie. All Quiet on the Western Front has a really good chance of winning.
I love that film,
and it is a very, very good movie.
It's so lit, like that Deacon's James Bond film.
Yes, yeah. All Quiet is a very, very good, solid movie.
German film, isn't it?
German film, and it's very, very well made. It has a good chance of winning because it is people connected to the war with Russia, and so there's sort of political backing for it. I don't think it's a visionary movie.
No, it's not. It looks like that. You know what it looks like? 1917.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it is. Deacon's is 1917.
Yes,
It's kind of mustardy haze.
Right.
It's beautiful, but it's 1917.
It's 1917.
But for TV. Yeah.
Right. And
I love 1917.
And
that's
1917 is a real work of art. That's a real work of art.
I can see that over and over again because I love those type of visual stories. That's why I really tuned in also to Avatar.
Right. And so you have movies like if that wins, I'm going to be like, that's a good movie, but we're not. I don't feel as strongly about it as a really doing something as I do even about Top Gun. Top Gun really has something to say, and it says it really well. And then there's stuff like what do you call it? Women Talking, which I haven't seen. I really like Sarah Polley as a director, so I'm expecting to like that. And Triangle Sadness, which I also like the director. But these movies are it's hard for me to trust people on these movies because they politically align with them when they like them. And I'm just not. That's not a useful review. So I'm hoping that it is Top Gun, Avatar, or very, very high on my list, Everything Everywhere.
That's a great film.
Those are the real tremendous movies from that list to me.
Okay. All right. Okay. I want to get to this movie. First of all, I should say, 1973 is when it came out, but they actually started the movie, I think, 1965. It took a long time to get this movie. So it's another one that took almost 10 years to make.
This is Fantastic Planet, everybody.
Fantastic Planet.
We've arrived.
Okay.
Have you seen it before, Chris?
Yes. When I was 8.
I never saw it.
You never saw it?
I have seen this many times. I first saw it when I was at the same age as Chris, more or less.
So I did not see it on TV. I saw it. This is the strange thing. I was a kid. One of my friends, when I was growing up, his dad was a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. I think my mother suspected that he made porn. She told me.
Nice,
but he was a fairly wealthy guy, and he had a projector. So this was in 78.
He had a huge sauna, and we'd go there. And
So this was probably about 1977 or 1978, right? and he had and this is before VHS, right? So he had a projector and he was projecting this film on a projector for us to watch. And we were little, right? And this film is messed up in some ways. So it's kind of like a little bit confusing to like.
Yeah, if you had a projector at home.
You wouldn't normally let an 8-year-old watch this film.
It would not occur to me to show this to an 8-year-old.
Stop talking, Chris. We're kind of ruining the territories.
What's that?
I would not. Yes, I think we're all in agreement that this is not a movie that we would show to 8-year-olds, even though there's nothing that you
nothing
can't
sexual
show.
in this. No.
It's just that like it makes you feel really weird.
It just
really
makes you feel weird. Yeah,
it makes you feel as an adult. You're like, whoa.
When you said, I think he made porn, or my mother did, that's like already like that's a
you're in a bad space.
That's a big story.
You're in a bad space.
Was this in Egypt or in Greece?
In Greece.
There you go.
I feel like
not only that, she told me that, and she let me go there all the time.
Yeah. If you open that story with there's this guy who lived next door to us who had a projector in his living room, I'd be like, don't go to that place.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's not send the kids
Anyway,
over there.
I watched it on that projector.
Yeah,
that's
there
where
you
I
go.
first saw this film.
Yeah.
And it might no. Okay, so I saw it then, and then I hadn't seen it again until I saw it pop up on Criterion like 2 years ago. And
I
that's
was
the second
involved in
time
the court case, and then they made me watch it.
Right.
And then I watched it. Then I watched it again just for right now. But it's a very short film. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. It's like
Right.
And it is a French film technically, although the animation studio is in the former Czechoslovakia.
Yes. Yeah. It's the production of this thing is actually really interesting. I watched the entire Criterion collection of all the other short stuff that came along with this.
Yes,
and it's
I did too.
It's very fascinating.
Okay,
Very
tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this is made by there's an animator. Yeah, there's an animator who made the thing, and this other artist named Roland Topper. Right. And I was not familiar with Roland
That
Topper.
doc on him was great.
And the doc on him is terrific. Yeah, and so like my right out of the gate, I started watching the doc, and I was like, this guy's really fascinating, but he really reminds me of somebody. And I was like, he's like a Peter Lorre type, or something like this. But I was just like, my brain's like, you have seen him somewhere. And then it snapped, and I looked it up, and I was right. He plays Renfield in Werner Herzog's Nosferatu.
What?
Really?
I was like, as soon as I heard him laugh, that weird cackling laugh, I was like, holy shit, that's that guy. And I was right. So he is. If you've seen Werner Herzog's amazing Nosferatu remake, he plays Renfield. And so this dude, I did not know was of the time a very, very, very famous French illustrator, and he wrote books, and he was a famous French illustrator. And I strongly recommend watching the documentary on him. That
really
comes
good.
with the collection on Criterion, because it's very like he's a really strange, funny, interesting, complete artist mindset.
So so basically it sounds like, so I didn't see any of this, unfortunately. I just went through it because it's a long story, but it's been a long week, but I was excited to talk. But so it sounds like they took he was the concept artist, and the animators took that and animated his concept art. Is that what it basically is?
That's correct.
Okay.
And so the and the director, I'm going to pull up these names so we can actually talk about them. The director of Fantastic Planet, is a guy by the name of René Laloux. Okay. And René Laloux, his
That sounds
background,
like a great restaurant in Paris.
have you been to
René Laloux?
They just got another Michelin star.
It's so nice.
René Laloux?
So, René Laloux, his background is equally fascinating because he started. He used to work at what do you call it? An institution that took care of people with mental difficulties.
Okay.
And the way that he was treating them was they would
Put a little needle in their head.
You just like tap, 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 and then they were calm. He got them to all make movies together.
That's crazy cool.
And so that's
cool.
There are movies that you can see online that he made these little shadow play animated, semi-animated things, and they're stunning. It's really stunning. And so,
speaking of which, I really want to do on Martini John. I would love to do all One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
oh yeah, damn.
And if you haven't seen it, have you ever seen the Queen of Hearts?
Oh yes, yeah, yep. Oh wait a minute, I'm thinking Kind Hearts and Cornets. Go ahead.
No, the Queen of Hearts.
Okay, no, I have not seen it.
Italian film.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh my God. Okay, here's the premise. It's a town that's invaded by the Germans or whatever. It's during the war. Everyone gets out of the town. They all escape, except they forget about the insane asylum.
It's Kind Hearts and Cornets. Yes,
no. Is that what it is? No,
that's what it's called here.
No,
I think it's called
Kind Hearts and Cornets
That's Guinness.
is Alec Guinness.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so
That's
I'm
an
mixing
Eel
it up.
Street studio.
Yeah, I've
or whatever.
totally seen the movie that you're talking about. What is it?
It's called The Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts? I've been mixing it up. Okay, I've seen both
It's
of
not
these
the
movies.
Juice Newton story, is it?
Oh, come on.
No, we're doing
I
it.
want to see that, but
No,
it's
you're
not
right.
Kind
Chris is
Hearts.
entirely
and
right.
I'm looking it up. Am I right?
I believe you're entirely right. Because
Queen
Kind Hearts
of-
Cornets is Alec
is
Guinness,
Alec
from
Guinness, and
time playing multiple characters.
Yes.
That's right.
And
Queen
this
of-
is the one about the insane asylum in the town. Yes.
It's
I've
not the
seen
Queen of Hearts. It's what is it? Okay, you know what? We have a podcast to do. So one
Yes.
of our fabulous
Look it up. Yes.
podcast listeners, please look it up and let us know what I'm talking about. And I know I'm not crazy. And Kind Hearts and Coordinates is definitely Alec Guinness.
Yes. That's definitely Alec Guinness, and it's definitely excellent. It's a great movie.
Definitely
Black and
excellent.
white.
He
It's
plays
about,
12 roles.
12 roles of
Yes.
his own lineage throughout the film. Yes. Okay. So two separate things.
So between
Look it up for us.
Jason and Casey, who are
Hi, Mike.
our
Thank
active
you.
chatters right now, they're going to help us figure out what it is. I think it's the Queen of Hearts, but apparently it's not. And I believe it was filmed in the 60s. So if you see something from any other time, it's not right. Okay. But that's a great film, and I would love to pair that with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
King of Hearts.
King of Hearts.
It's King of Hearts.
King of Hearts.
What did you say, Chris?
Queen of Hearts.
I said
Very
Queen of
close.
Hearts. It's the
Yeah,
King of Hearts.
It's King of Hearts. There we are. Okay. So moving on.
Moving on. So
King of Hearts.
this film is okay. There are so many similarities between this film and Avatar that I think if we just jump into the story, jokers of jokes. Okay, that's pretty good, Jason. I'm going to jump right into the story of what this is, and all of those similarities are going to show up.
They're going to be clear.
Right? Yes. The style of this film is very unusual.
It feels like something that maybe you shouldn't be watching.
Maybe you shouldn't be watching, right?
I like the style a lot.
Yeah,
it's really trippy.
I'll just put it this way. It
Surreal.
makes Zardoz feel like an episode of Friends.
Yes. Super weird. Super weird. Yeah, it is a beautiful pencil sketch style. It is it's proto Mobius in its Frenchness.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sort of like vague political overtone to everything without ever being specific.
Yeah, but just the style of what it looks like. And this was the beginning of probably one of the earliest parts of animation for adults.
Yes.
Right? So after this came heavy metal and all those other things, right?
And Jason points out rightly, strong Omni magazine vibe. Yes, 100%.
On this thing?
Bob Guccio.
Yes.
This is Bob Guccio.
Loved Omni
definitely Omni magazine.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, 100% all day long, as they say.
Yep.
Okay, so it starts off with a mother and baby running.
Mm-hmm.
And they're running and running and running and run up this little hill. And this giant blue finger, and I mean like
huge,
imagine
person-sized hand.
Yeah. So like the hand, like if the person were our size, I mean the people would only be about 2 to 3 inches tall, and the finger just goes bloop, knocks them over. And then does it over and over and over again.
Yes.
And the mother is desperate to save this child.
Right.
As a mother would. And you're feeling awkward. Because you're just
feels
like
weird.
Boop, and it's like knocking.
Giant hand like this. Goes, dunk. It's like God's hand comes down and just smacks her.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then this happens over and over again. to the point where they kill her by just doing it
The hand
repeatedly.
picks her up and just drops her and she dies. It's just like 50 feet. And the baby's just kind of wandering around. And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But the scale difference makes it very surreal.
Yes.
Yeah. And
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. And then you start to realize that the hand that's doing this, there are several quote unquote boys or kids.
Giant. Boys.
Giant. Like look at the image behind me right now. That's people are like, the people in this movie are about 6 inches tall at most. Humans are, and then the 3 inches tall.
3 inches tall.
Yeah.
And the blue people are hundreds of feet tall.
Right.
And they're just they start talking to each other like, oh, she's not moving anymore. Like they're talking about like a like a squirrel. Like, I guess we're done playing with that thing.
Right.
Like it's a little
like a snail.
Yeah, like a snail.
Or ants
really
with a
treating it like nothing. And then which, by the way, is obviously an animal rights thing that was big at that time.
Absolutely.
Remember? You know who was one of the biggest animal activists at that time? French person?
Who?
Yes, I do.
Who?
The blonde.
Yes.
Beautiful. We did a movie. Oh God,
we did. She was in Masculin Féminin.
Brigitte Bardot.
Yes.
Yeah, nicely done.
Good job, Aaron.
Love her.
Well job.
Yeah, like this, like there's something about the style of the illustration, and this is because the guy who created all the drawings is essentially like he's not a political cartoonist. He's sort of like he creates these illustrations that produce, like you attach what the joke is to whatever you're angry about,
Sure.
whatever it is. So like he's like he creates these illustrations where you think like, is this about France or is this about the poor or like it doesn't say it. That you just have a feeling that this
doesn't
is what
say it's very its political message is clearly there, strong.
Yeah,
but
you're going to attach it to something that someone else might attach.
There's a big political message, but it's hard to zone in on what that message is.
Because like when I was done watching this movie, it's
not like when they say they all look the same.
Okay, like every time I think about it, they all look the same. All the people. Oh my god, it's the worst. So when I got done watching this,
they don't do that in this film.
Yeah. When I got done watching this, I was like, was this an allegory for Vietnam? I was like the French involvement in Vietnam.
No.
But and Anne was like, no. I was like,
there's there's definitely allegories in here. There's definitely allegories in here.
Though.
It's about human rights and it's about animal rights.
Yeah, it's something that it's like any great work of art. Like you're going to attach what you see in it to it,
right?
And it's very like it's very thorough in what it's doing,
but it also is kind of great because it kind of
it's abstracted.
It is about the duality between these two races, the humans and I forgot what the name of the other race is, the big blue people.
They are the Drags.
The Drags. So the Drags and the humans, but they're not called humans; they're called Oms. And in French means man.
There you go. Yep.
Yep. So the duality between these two characters living with each other is there. Now, both of them have the opportunity to do good and do bad. Each of them. Mm-hmm. So that part, that's one of my favorite things is when the bad guys do good things and the good guys do bad things. It's not
a one-dimensional story.
Yes. Right. Which we already established was one of the best parts of the Avatar film. Mm-hmm. Where the guy who's clearly the most black, no, it's not black.
Black and white.
The darker, like the dark bad guy, right?
The villain, right?
The villain is clearly the villain. Suddenly has not this is not a Cameron thing. Cameron does not do that, right?
Yes, right.
Who's the character in Aliens? Who's the corporate guy?
Oh yeah, Burke.
Yeah.
He's great.
Paul Reiser, right?
Paul Reiser, yeah.
Paul Reiser. Like it's clear, like Paul Reiser is a bad guy the whole time.
There's no other view on Paul Reiser. Like once he reveals himself to be a scumbag, you're like, kill him.
Yep.
That's it.
So Paul Reiser never redeems himself from that process, right?
So, it was a bad call, Ripley. A bad call. Yeah, exactly. Fuck off. You're done.
Okay, but in this one, it's different, right? It's different. But they're like, and then So immediately, once you start to realize that they're kids playing with a thing, it's just, you've seen kids play with animals and like, you shouldn't do that. Let the animal live. But then like, this is literally killing a mother.
Yeah. In front of its baby.
In front of its baby, a human mother in front of a human baby. And they're like, oh, and then like, oh, well, now that you've killed the baby, maybe we should help raise the baby. Right. And it's like, holy shit, this is exactly what we do to animals.
Absolutely.
With pets.
Right.
Right. But when you see it from the perspective of us as humans, it's weird.
It's super weird.
Really weird. So treating ourselves as pets is kind of a weird thing. Now, the other thing I should note on this as well is that the dialogue in the film, or the voice acting in the film, both in the French and even in the English dub version, are very flat. Yeah,
it's very monotone. Like there's very no like spin put on any of this stuff.
So it's not there. The emotional parts. Here's what I like about it the most. The emotional parts is all comes from you watching this, going, "What the fuck is going on?" As opposed to them telling you how to feel.
Right.
It's just.
Yeah, you're just what, because like you are just like how the kids don't understand the perspective of the humans. Like we're kind of outside both of these characters. Both the Alms and the Drags are even the Alms are weird enough that we're kind of like, what the fuck? What are these people? What is this? And so you look at the entire thing like it's kind of a menagerie, and that's how they're looking at each other. Like they're each is looking at like the Alms look at the Drags like they're monsters, right? And the Drags look at the Alms like they're mice. Like sometimes you have pet mice, but if you have a lot of mice in the house,
at some point,
you're gonna exterminate these things,
right?
Like it's bad news. But over the course of the story, like they get a greater perspective on each other, and so they allow the Alms to do bad. Even the Alms are divided amongst themselves. There's the Alms that live in the bush. They're the pirate Alms, and then there's the ones that live in the park.
Yeah.
And they have to try to figure out how to live together. And then once they get perspective on what the Drogs are actually doing and how they live their lives, like they form more of a connection. But it's never like a touchy-feely thing. It's sort of like, we better achieve some balance because we're going to fuck each other bad. And so it's not like, it never comes off as a preachy, Greenpeace-y PETA thing. It rather comes off as like this, it only makes sense for things to be in balance, and these things are out of balance.
You know what would be amazing? I just came up to it. If Cameron, after he finished Avatar, remade this as a live action film for his last film.
Keep it super weird.
There you go.
Super, super weird.
Tom Hanks can play the big blue thumb.
The thumb.
Coming down.
You're the thumb,
Hold
Tom.
on a second.
Okay, I'm going to go with a story because Eric's seen it, so that part he just comments about this. So, of all the characters, so the boys are playing with this, and there's a baby left over, and there's a girl that shows up. They're girls and boys because the girls have their breasts exposed. That's the only
exactly
way.
Right. It looks like they're wearing clothes. The only thing that it doesn't cover
is their breasts. And so those are the ones. So those are the girls. So there are sexes in the what did I call it again? Carls.
The Drogs.
Drogs.
Yeah, Drags.
Drogs. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. So she decides she's going to help save this, just like you would help save a baby mouse or whatever.
In the same amount of investment too. It's sort of like casual. Like, let's do the nice thing, but it's not like I'm not heartbroken over this. Let's just do the nice thing. Right.
And then turns out that her father, this kid's father, is a highly political person on this planet, influential political person on this planet.
Right.
And
he seems like a kind person.
And is teaching her the things to do. And goes, well, you're going to have to take care of this thing.
Right. Be responsible.
You have to be responsible and do all this stuff. And so she slowly decides to take care of this thing and help it and do things. Now, what we find out is because he's a pet.
Right.
she dresses him in weird ways.
Yeah, it's just like a little puppet. Just like,
right?
It's like people that put sweaters on their dogs and shit like that. Just like, there you go. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like people that put sweaters on their dogs is exactly right. And carry them around in baby carriers.
That's ridiculous. That's a step too far. I love my cats, but let's not go crazy.
I know, right? And this movie definitely showcases like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it's super weird.
And then it's like throw little toys at him, and he's doing different things, and so it's just kind of, it's very weird to see.
It's all sort of appropriate when it's a child, but it grows up. Like it's growing at sort of a different speed than the dogs are, and it becomes an adult human male. Right. And so she
but there's an important part of this process, and we need to, as she's growing up and he's growing up, we find out that she gets her education from this band that goes over her head, right? It's kind of like a VR experience of some kind or whatever, right? But it teaches, and the way that it does it is that, I wish I had this when I was in school. It embeds all that information into your brain directly, so that it's not passive. You just keep learning and learning.
Right. And at the same time, because the little human male has a weird collar that keeps him, a pet.
Right.
Like that collar is also vibrating with the same technology.
It's defective. No, it's defective. So, good point. So he tries to run away. The little boy, and father says, "No, well, you got to catch him. You got to put a collar on him, because that's how you make sure they're good. Just like you put a collar on a dog, right? And so he's a baby, and she fits him with this collar, and then has this bracelet on her that she just does this little flick on her bracelet, and it
controls magnetic, like an Xbox,
like an Xbox, and brings him back to her, right? And so it does it. But something happens to the bracelet that is somewhat defective,
right?
And when she holds him as a little pet while she's doing her lessons, the same message is going to him, and he's getting smarter and learning from the process.
All her stuff. Yeah.
All of her stuff. So he learns from her as that's going through, which is kind of cool.
And eventually he's like, fuck this. And runs away and steals the little toy.
She starts to lose interest in him, because there is a very important part of what also we start to witness happening is that adults start to get very interested in what they're calling meditation, right? And the meditation, what they do is they do this thing where they basically go into a room and their eyes flip over or do whatever, where they're clearly having an out-of-body experience, right? And they go into meditation, and they manifest this by having these bubbles with people inside of them floating.
Yeah, like they're projecting their souls up in these weird little bubbles that float up into the sky.
Very strange.
Very weird. And there's something like, and you don't know why they're doing this or why they're so obsessed with it. And then eventually, kids reach the age where they're introduced on how to do this, and then they start doing it. And that's when
So as you become, as you start to get into adolescence, this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is something like human experience.
Most importantly, they also do this thing where they talk about, ohms, they don't live as long as us, but they reproduce a lot more. So they're kind of like treat us like rabbits or mice, exactly as you said, as vermin, right? But to them, they reproduce a lot less. But there's this adolescent period they go through, and that adolescent period makes them interested in this meditation. So they don't seem. You start to understand that this meditation is a form of rite of passage to adulthood, just like sex is, right?
Right.
And so she becomes interested in that process, which lets, she doesn't play with her toys anymore, like the boy, and that's when he takes his escape.
Right. And he takes the fucking ring with him.
He takes her
learning device.
The learning device with him. With him.
And he
gets away, and he gets pretty far. And by the way, there is tons, even though this is a short film, there's lots of establishing shots of strange, freaky creatures.
Plants, weird shit.
Plants doing weird shit, different hazards. Like they go through landscapes that are just mind-blowing and incredible.
Yeah, like one of the famous gags from this is you watch, like, there's an egg on the ground, and the egg slowly hatches, and this little happy-looking creature pops out, and then this big creature comes up, and you think it's the mother, and it starts licking it, and then the little creature's like, I'm being cleaned, and then the thing just goes, oh, and eats it and walks away. So yeah, like there's loads of these interactions where you're like, what does it mean?
There's another creature that basically goes in and starts eating humans like it's an anteater.
Oh yeah, that's another.
It's crazy.
Like, that's, man. If I had walked in to that house where you were watching that on a projector, that scene, I would have been like, I'm calling the police.
But it's a very beautiful. It's very surreal. I liked it a lot, and even though it's very 70s.
You've never seen it, right?
Never saw it. No.
It's a beautiful movie.
I was sure you would love this film.
Yeah, like, I love the artwork, and even the documentary on him. It's
great. It's great. I really, really recommend it. And like, there's also, they have 2 short films that these guys did together as well on Criterion. One of them is about war and killing, and one of them is just, you should just see it. It's just called
War and Killing.
And the other one's called L'Escargot. And it's called The Snails. And like, you watch this thing, you're like, and it's another one of these things like, I think something political is being said, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
If you watch really the doc, he's a total loose cannon, this guy.
Oh yeah, unbelievable, man. Well, he kind of quits halfway through making this movie. Like, he sort of bails. He's just like, yeah, my mom said I shouldn't be making this movie, and he just stops.
So, and the director's like, fuck you. It took a long time to make this film.
Yeah,
long time, which is also interesting. And it's not that long a film, right? So,
I mean, like the style of animation is so dedicated. It's like, I can't even imagine the amount of fucking drawing that goes into doing something like this.
Tons.
It's just insane because it's all like pencil shaded. You know, it's not it's not
surreal and amazing. I highly recommend it. It's on Criterion. Look it up, man. Yeah. It is weird. And yes, it's weird, but don't worry, it's only an hour and 10 minutes of weirdness.
You can ride it out. It's okay.
You can ride it out because it's worth it.
But like, it really made me feel
even though we're going to tell you the whole thing, still watch it.
Yes, yeah.
And I said that every time, but
like, so the human runs away and ends up with other humans.
Yeah, right? The human runs away, but he still has this collar, and then there's like his human run away, and then I think she realizes he took his collar or something like that, and so she tries to call him back full force, and then he's like, and he's like literally dragged, like, you know, and he gets trapped because he's holding onto the thing, and another human, a savage. By the way, this is called Fantastic Planet in English. In French, it's called Savage Planet.
La Planète Sauvage.
Translation.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And so a wild human, right? So think of like, you know, feral cat and domesticated cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's still wearing an outrageous outfit. He looks like a freaking court jester, like it's stupid, right? On purpose, right? She finds him and cuts the collar off of him so that the collar goes back and he stays. And then he starts to commune with the other humans. They all like laugh at him. It's typical. This would be normal. Like, you're a domesticated cat, I'm a wild cat, you know, that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, that's basically, you know, the kind of conversation that's happening here. Then where were we? Okay, so he starts to form bonds with the people in this. Oh, and they're in a park. They're quote unquote. They're in a park.
The park, right?
Right.
Right.
So it's wild humans living in a tree in a park.
And so the drugs are okay with this. They're just like, well, it's like,
it's like, you know, wild cats or whatever.
It's like, but you can hear them talk about it a lot in the background. Just like, we should really do something. There's a lot of ohms here. Like, this is getting kind of gross. You know? And like,
there's a lot of ohms here.
and there's also like a political discussion that you see the drug dad involved in, where it's like having too many ohms can actually really like fuck up your production. Like if you have like ohms in your planet or ohms in your production facility, like they get into everything, and it's really kind of a problem. Mm-hmm. And so
we've always talked about that.
Yeah, so like they have these discussions early on. This becomes later the plot of the film. Too many ohms.
Can't live with them. Can't live
without them.
Yep.
I also just a sidebar. I put The Snails, the other short film by the same guys. I just put it in our Discord in general. Please check that out, and you'll get a good vibe of what this movie is like through that short.
Yes, I will actually go onto our Discord here and actually put our link to our Discord in case anyone wants an invitation.
Yeah, hit us up for sure.
Put it on our chat here, so you guys can have it. And also, if you guys are listening to this passively and not on our Twitch, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@martinigiant, and look at any of our films. And I usually put our Discord link in the description of any of our podcasts. So anyway, going back to this, what were we? Okay, so they live in a park. There's a colony of them that live in a tree, and there's another colony that lives in a bark or a log or something like that.
Right. And these all the human groups are kind of at odds because they steal from each other and all this kind of jazz. Mm-hmm. But the primary human, like the main character, like because he's learned so much from the drugs through the education
that he stole from her,
like he's like, I can tell the difference between the boxes of shit that we've stolen from the drugs.
Because he can read.
Because he can read, he can tell what's like, don't open that one, that's a trap, and do open this one because that's got good stuff in it, right? And that starts to unify the groups, right? Because like the information starts spreading between all of them, and then slowly they start to like use this technology more and more, and out of that. There are more and more and more of them, and that's when the drogs are like, there's a shitload of these fuckers in the park. We should probably clean this up.
Right. And they literally go through like a fogging technique of destroying these ohms.
Yes, I mean total like watership down, gas out the rabbits attack.
Right.
Oh gosh, thank you. And like it's a weird and terrifying.
It is
Nazi-esque scene.
Yes.
And it's really upsetting.
There's a lot of dead humans in this, like tons.
It's like it's like they're treating it like the drugs are treating it like, well, we're getting rid of pests. The imagery is straight up World War II genocide.
It is,
and it's very, very, very upsetting.
But it's very 70s too, though. That's
yeah. And it's and like, because I don't know if anyone's seen the animated version of Watership Down, which is an excellent movie all by itself. Like, if you show that to children, they will be scarred for life. It looks like it's going to be for kids. It is not for kids. This movie is 0% for kids.
Yep.
So,
but then several of them managed to escape the park.
Mm-hmm.
And several of them realize this because the guy can read and goes, they're going to exterminate because it says it right there, right?
Yeah. They've written in a drug on the side of the park. We're going
on the side of the park. And they're all outside. And then there's a group of drugs who walk, two drugs who walk outside. We're like, hey, look.
Two drugs walking into a bar?
Yeah. Walk outside the park. Two drugs walking outside the park. They're looking and it's like, oh, look, there's a bunch of ohms there. It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, we got to stamp them. And they start just stomping them out. Like just crushing them like ants, right?
Right. But it turns out the ohms have learned a lot of things from that bracelet.
Right. And so they basically attack back and find a couple, and one of them they have no idea that they would fight back at all. They're not even prepared because they have no concept of anything that would kill them.
Right.
right?
Yeah, zero. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just living
they're not even top level predators. They're like beyond that, right?
Right.
And so they got these little grappling hooks and stuff, and they take them down. Like what's the they're taking the giant.
It's like Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels. That's
totally
what I was thinking.
Pin this guy and tear him apart.
It's totally Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
The other Drog runs away.
Who witnessed it though?
Yeah, and he's just like,
and they bring it to the console, and it's like, we gotta take care of these guys, right?
Yeah,
this is terrible.
They straight up murdered this dude.
Straight up murdered a guy,
right.
And this is bad. And they also realize that anyway.
Like the Ohms are like, we got to get the fuck out of here because they're going to come and kill us now more than ever now. And
right.
So like we got to get to this other faraway place. The leader says, like, there's an old rocket facility that's been abandoned, old Drog rocket facility. We can go and live there. And so they move. The remaining humans run away, get to the rocket place.
They go basically to an old abandoned shipyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they use whatever they can find there and continue to learn and grow and grow. And by the way, they go from wearing savage clothes to more like uniforms.
Right. Exactly. And they get the ability to miniaturize from the bracelet. They get the ability to miniaturize rocket parts so they can start building their own rockets. And they start constructing a couple of rockets.
Right. Start building a couple of rockets, and then suddenly the Drogs close in.
Mm-hmm. Drogs close in. It's the beat.
Yeah, it's the
Drogs close in.
Bad guys close in. Right.
The Drogs close in.
Yeah, and it gets bad, and it's like, oh, we got to get out of here, and they stuff as many people into the 2 rockets that they have built to escape the planet. Now,
everyone else that was left behind gets killed by the Drogs again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we have learned, by the way, is that there is a planet called the Fantastic Planet that is actually a moon of the planet they're on. Am I correct?
I think that's correct, yeah.
Yes. It's a little confusing, but it's a moon, and they call it the Fantastic Planet. And that is an important part, and that's where they want to go because
that's where they land the rockets. Right?
Well, that's where they say we need to go there because there's something special there, and that's where we can live in peace.
Right.
Right?
Right, and they get there's all these weird statues with no heads.
Huge, massive statues with no heads. And a massive statues.
Like Drog sized.
No. Bigger than Drog size.
Bigger than Drog size. Yeah, bigger than Drog size.
Yeah. Way bigger than Drog size, right? So we got to think like Statue of Liberty size. Yep. No, bigger
Easter
than
Island type,
like Empire State Buildings.
Yeah, Empire State Buildings.
Yeah. And so, with no heads.
Right.
That are there.
Serious drugs were consumed. I mean, honestly,
this is an LSD trip, like hardcore LSD trip.
And they wait there long enough to see. They're like, oh no, like here come the Drogs, and the Drogs start arriving, but they are arriving in the weird little dream spheres,
and they're little balls.
Yeah, that come when they meditate, and so all the dream spheres with their personalities in them float down from the sky. And they start landing on the necks of the giant statues.
Male and female
statues. And the statues start moving with
and dancing.
Dancing together with the red spheres as the heads.
And what we also find out, it is not just from the main planet, but it's from all over the galaxy or the universe or whatever it is. Right. So there's multiple of them, and they come to connect on this island, much like turtles will go to a place to mate or whatever it is, right?
So they reproduce.
Lay eggs.
Right. So this is why it's the Fantastic Planet or the Savage Planet, whatever it is. Right?
It's a fantastic planet. It's like, like Fire Island. It's just like, this is amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah, this is terrific, man. We're here for one thing and one thing only. It's fantastic.
It's fucking.
Yeah, exactly. They used to call it the fucking planet. But this is where it happens. And this because, and they hinted this early on, it's a nice little setup payoff, is that by whistling at some crystals early on, these crystals that are growing,
right.
the Ohms are able to shatter these crystals. And then they use more or less an advancement of that technology to destroy the statues.
Right.
And it interrupts the mating cycle of the Drogs.
Yeah. So they basically kick off the statues. So now,
it gets confusing.
The Ohms have enough power in them to disrupt the mating cycle
of the drugs. So all these little mice suddenly are like, we're on your fantastic planet and we can fuck you up.
Right.
And now they have the leverage.
And then what's amazing about that is like, it's somehow like, and there's only like 2 minutes left in the whole movie and we're here, right? And the way that they decide to stop it is they go, okay, so now we're going to explain everything in about 20 seconds.
Right.
and the credits are going to start to roll.
They ran out of money.
No, I don't think they ran out.
It was the Czech government. They stepped. Really? They said this in a documentary. They're just like, the director says, yeah, there's like 4 scenes that are missing because the government came in and said, this is too fucking expensive and too weird. We're not going to pay for it anymore. And that was
really, because it's really quick ending,
really abrupt. That is the case. But they're just, anyway, that's the story of Fantastic Planet. They stopped this from this, then we and now we all live in peace. Good night.
Pretty much what they say at the end is that, yes, so they made a second moon, an artificial moon where the Ohms live, and the Ohms agree not to disrupt the Fantastic Planet.
Yeah, and they coexist.
So they live in one planet, they live in the other planet, they all agree to be with each other and et cetera, et cetera. The end, credits roll.
Right.
We're out of money.
We're out of money. Hey, it turns out we're out of money. So that's the story. But like but it is a very effective, beautiful piece of work, even though it's like clearly a little unfinished in the end. And they sent it to the Cannes Film Festival, and it won the special jury prize.
It did.
Yep. And
it should.
Yeah, it's really something to see. And a young James Cameron then saw it.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually what I want to get to. So I'm actually gonna refresh my drink, but I would like to talk about the connections between these two films as one kind of thing, because it's clearly there's a lot of connections here. I want to get your take on it, and then we can for the last part. But give me a couple moments. You guys start the conversation. I'll join in.
Yeah, but I really loved the documentary on the artist was really something.
And his father,
his father being interviewed, hysterical, man. Yeah,
there was almost like a man bites dog quality about that.
Yeah, because clearly, they start interviewing him and he's like in bed. You're like, what the fuck is this?
And he's just drinking wine, smoking cigars, and just like he's a rich kid playing.
Yeah, exactly. He's fucking around. And I love when, what does he say? When they're interviewing the dad, and the dad's like, you really want people to be one-dimensional, don't you? He says back to the interviewer. So like, like, because the interviewer's like, so you're really optimistic and your son's really pessimistic. And he's like, you just sort of want, like, you're trying to fit us into these characters. That's what you're trying to do. Like, it's a much weirder situation.
It was cool. His father was an artist too.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you talking about? Oh, the documentary?
Documentary on the artist himself. Yeah, it was fascinating. Totally fascinating. And like, and just the whole, it really made me a little, here's my nostalgic embarrassment. Is like, I was watching this, I was like, I really miss these artful days. Like, it's like, this is like, it's like how I feel about like New York in the 70s. I'm just like, that doesn't happen very often, like that golden age of artists just doing weird shit, semi-political, weird, whatever it is.
It doesn't exist like that anymore.
It's really, really rare. It's especially rare now.
It's too. I'll go and explain it. Sorry, my wife was talking to me, guys. I apologize.
But like you don't get that stuff. I haven't seen anything like that in a long, long, long time.
Yeah, I think it's because I don't know. It just there's a money involved now that's different.
Yep, I agree. But I mean, just watching this in general, I was like,
ironically, I think people are too woke.
I hear where you're going.
You hear where I'm going, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want to offend anyone. And like, what's the irony I have is like the right keeps talking about how we're stopping free speech.
Right.
And they keep fucking banning books.
Yeah, it's fucking idiotic.
We're all doing it.
Everybody
and we're trying to change dolls' books as well, as you just mentioned.
It's the same fucking
it's the
stupid
same
bullshit.
problem. It's like, just let
Same dumb bullshit.
things happen.
Yeah. Stop trying. You can sum it up super, super clearly. If you are trying to control other people, it's because you haven't fixed something in yourself. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. If you're trying to manipulate other people around you so that you feel comfortable, that means there's something uncomfortable in you have not faced. The end. Like, and the way to deal with that is with art. That's a really healthy way to deal with it.
Art is a great way to do it. Okay. So how Cameron must have seen this.
There's no two ways in my mind. I mean, like,
Do you think that, like, it's not this is a direct influence?
Absolutely. I'm going to guess. Hang on. Is James Cameron Canadian?
Yes.
Right.
Is he?
I thought he was Canadian. I may be wrong.
Canadian.
I believe he's Canadian. And so, like, James Cameron's Canadian, and this is French from Paris, French.
Back in.
Yeah.
I bet it was played on Quebecois television a lot.
Is he Canadian French? Is he like Quebec and French?
Canadian?
What's
I'm just saying that I bet that this has a higher chance of being in his sphere of growing up.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I bet that when he
You
was
are
a kid,
100% right, Dan.
yeah, I think that because, like, it's rare for American kids to have seen this thing.
How old is Cameron?
He must be 65.
Someone look it up.
69, 70.
So how old was he in 1973 or 4 when this came out?
So Cameron is 68.
68.
Wow, I wasn't far off.
Yeah,
you were pretty close. I was with you the whole time. So he's 68. So he was born in 54. So that would mean he'd been in his 20s when he saw this, maybe.
Yeah. Like, I bet this was on the fucking.
He was in college smoking dope.
This is the winner
talking about like, I want to learn how to fly a helicopter.
Dude, he's 20 years old and this wins at Cannes. He's watching this thing. 100%. Especially if it's like,
he's having arguments in Quebec bars. Like,
right.
I'm telling you.
I bet this is easy to find playing in Canada if it wasn't on, like, TV.
He was born in Ontario.
Ontario,
yes.
Okay. I bet this is like,
Yeah, I think that's a good call, Eric and Dan.
Dan, it's all Dan here.
Yeah, I think that's my speculation. I would love to know from him if that's true. There's no way that he has not seen this movie. Like,
he's a liar.
Yeah, that's right. Fantastic shit.
I saw it in my French class.
Like, this thing.
We all speak like Maurice Chevalier.
So it's like
people.
This thing, aside from the
stuck
direct,
in my brain.
Vive le Québec libre.
giant blue people contest between factions of learning to live in balance with each other over nature. Yeah, this is 100% like deep in his brain from a long time back. And because there's plenty of other things that have influenced him from 1970s sci-fi and weird books and stuff like that I buy, but I'm like, this is the one thing I'm just like, if this isn't part of the mix, I don't know what is. There's just no other way for it to work. Because because my feeling at the end of the movie, I was like, this, like, I can imagine. I don't think it's necessarily what the artist or the director had in mind, but when I was like, this feels like you could be read as a Vietnam allegory. Like here is let me play it out. Like, because in the same way that Star Wars is a Vietnam allegory, which it literally is. You know, where it's like, here are these people that you take for granted, absolutely take for granted, who live like people who you take for granted, who to you as a hyper technological society look like some sort of primitives or whatever it is. You know, you think you can just roll in there and exterminate them. Well, you're wrong, because they're as smart as you, like, and now they have access to the technology that you have, and they can leverage against you in the same way, and you're going to have to learn to fucking come to peace with this. And so, like, now none of that may be true for what they literally intended, but I can absolutely guarantee that enough of that is there that's a college dorm room argument.
Has
You know?
anyone made the argument that Fantastic Planet and Avatar are related?
I have not seen
No,
that. I'm sure
I
that
think
someone
we are
must
the
have noticed
first
this, yeah.
ones.
Yes, well, put it on the
I'm just going to say
banner.
that we're going to put a hanger on there, and then
Yeah.
if any, I want anyone else to prove
I've never
us
seen
wrong.
anyone talk about it. I'm sure that somebody has, but I've never seen anybody talk about it.
Well,
I'd be
not on a
interested to see
high
what this
level,
is.
at least.
Right. And so, like, I think that the setup is
Are
the
we
same.
considered high level? No.
No, but we will be after this.
After this is pretty
Right,
hoity-toity.
that's
Yeah,
our goal,
we are
right?
breaking
That's what
doors.
we're going to use this platform to talk about how much better we are than anyone else because we made the connection between Fantastic Planet and Avatar.
Yeah,
right.
so like this is so like I think that like Cameron watches this thing, it
Planète
sticks in his
Sauvage.
yeah, and he's listening to Yes while he's talking about this.
Yes.
in his dorm room
With a
No, no, no.
tambourine back
yeah,
and forth.
he's like looking at Roger Dean album covers. He's like, in just about 50 years, I'm going to make the most expensive / most successful movie of all time.
Yes.
Yep, I think that makes perfect sense. And it really is actually, because like in talking through all of Avatar 2, first of all, I like it even better from talking about it.
Well, just the crazy ass creatures and plants that
Absolutely.
are in Fantastic Planet are like Avatar is filled with them.
It's jam packed. Like the
It's the
environmental
same
message is
thing.
extremely strong in
Oh,
both.
they're both environmental. They're both super green.
And like the technologicalification of a formerly non-technological group
Yes.
is deeply there. And the sort of the rebellion against this technologically superior
Yes.
group
Terrorist
is
groups.
identical. Exactly, it's terrorist groups. And so like I think that that is the basic map. That's the basic floor plan.
Yeah.
That the Cameron rolls forward with. And like I said, if he's
This is how I roll, Roger
and, like-
Dean style.
exactly like now if he is an honest artist, he would own up to that. He would say like, fuck yeah, I totally ripped that thing off.
Hold on. Okay, let's get into that for a second. Hold on. Do you need to be honest about that?
Pardon me. I think
Why did you jump into a giant sandwich when I asked
I
you
know.
to like
I thought you were gonna
like
talk.
I don't know like no.
You don't need to ask
We have
that.
a podcast now. This is not meatball sandwich time.
No, it's spaghetti time. It's spaghetti time. Sorry, I'm starving.
It's spaghetti time. Yeah.
But I thought you were about to go into a detailed thing instead of questions. And
I'm putting
regretted
this
it
all
halfway
on
through.
you as you stuff your face full of spaghetti.
It's on my beard. I
That's
can't
horrible.
tell. Okay, so anyway, yeah, like I think that this dude, if he's really honest about it, like the best thing to do is to just say, "Fuck yes, absolutely," because that's how
But
art
Chris
works.
asked, "Is it important that
Is it
you
important?
ask that?"
I think that if
Thank
someone
you, Eric.
asks you, yes, if someone asks you, it is important to be truthful. Like I think that's the case. Like you shouldn't fucking lie if you were inspired by something just to protect your own ego. Like everyone is inspired by things.
Okay.
Own up to it.
But it's James
Celebrate it.
Cameron. He may
Yeah,
not want to do that.
He may not want to do it. No,
Okay.
I would hope that
Does
he
it
is,
matter?
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I don't
No,
care.
I know
don't
it
give a shit
doesn't.
about it.
Okay. It doesn't matter to you. So, but there are people that feel that it matters, that they need to acknowledge the shoulders that they are on.
I think that's
And
the right
if
thing to
Cam-
do as a person, as an
That's
artist.
your
Yes.
thing. But do you care that James Cameron does it or not?
I don't care about James Cameron. I've never met the guy. I don't care about him.
You know what
Yeah,
it does
maybe
for
Some
me?
people do. Some people get really offended that they're
Well,
like, you
yeah.
need to acknowledge this thing that you are.
No,
blah,
Well,
blah, blah,
ask,
blah.
okay, so what I would ask is like, why is it important for this person you don't know to believe what you believe?
You know what it is? Okay.
Go
What
ahead,
does it
Eric.
matter?
Eric, I
It,
want to
it
hear.
just breaks the myth down. You're like, oh, that's his cheat sheet. You know, it just, for me, it just breaks the myth of him down. Like he's superhuman. And it's like,
what do people need their artists to be superhuman?
no, but he's mythology. I mean, he is such a heavyweight that it just, you know, everyone knows him and respects him. He puts himself out there that he's, you know, this huge ego. And it's just like to see that, oh, some of his influences, or at least figuring it out, just kind of makes it a little more real and kind of breaks that down a little bit.
Well, so like that's the question. It's like why, like if he is doing something that actual human artists do, why would you call him on it, like
I'm not calling him on it.
No,
It
I'm just saying, not you. I'm talking the vague you, the like the broad you. Like, why would someone call him on it as if it were about something bad when we all do it? Like, that's my question.
Agree.
Is like, what are people getting out of it?
I just talked about it with Rory, right? When Rory said, "Well, I rip off James Cameron all the time, so it's fine," right? So, but James Cameron may not necessarily feel the need to acknowledge his influences,
right? I mean, like if I knew James Cameron,
am I okay with that?
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference. James Cameron can be whoever James Cameron is. I am unconcerned with James Cameron.
Right.
He's just he's fictional to me. It doesn't make any difference.
Thank you. Actually, that's a great way to put it. Let's separate the art from the artists and make that happen. As opposed to what's that ridiculous guy in Congress right now who's like lying about everything.
Oh, Sanchez.
Yeah,
that dude.
Right, because he's like, I invented the microwave, whatever.
Whatever.
That guy
if Cameron told me he invented the microwave, I actually don't care, because all I care about is Avatar that he made. Right.
Yeah, like
I know that he made the Avatar, and even though he invented that borrowed from a lot of different things, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. Fine. Like the thing is, like
I know that Fantastic Planet was involved, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like my experience of the art is the only experience that I'm having. I'm not having somebody else's experience. Like, who gives a shit? Like James Cameron could be anybody. He's like, I've never met the guy. I don't know anything actual about him at all. Like, like having an opinion, an emotional opinion about James Cameron is like having an emotional opinion about Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, I want to acknowledge Jason right now, because he said he'd love to know where inspiration comes from artists, because, and Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is in chat, by the way, if you're part of our streams, but like the inspiration is what allows you to go down the rabbit hole of where the origin story is, right? And so I agree, this is really cool.
It's like interesting. Yes.
Interesting to go down. It's like, if you really like Avatar, you should see Fantastic Planet, because that's probably an inspiration that happened there, as opposed to pretending that Fantastic Planet never happened.
Right. I mean, because the thing, like with James Cameron, like James Cameron as a topic is interesting. Like, that doesn't,
because you can take something like Fantastic Planet and then turn it into Avatar. That's actually a fucking skill in itself.
It's interesting. He's interested. Like, he's an interesting subject. He has done interesting things. And if I were to read a book about James Cameron, I'd be like, that's a really interesting guy. Doesn't mean I know him. Doesn't mean I have any real emotions about him. Like, he is just a pile of facts until I actually shake hands with him. It doesn't make any difference.
He's I mean, honestly, like, the fact that you can take something like Fantastic Planet and turn it into Avatar,
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, because Avatar
is a skill.
Yeah, Avatar is an important movie to have been made in the history of movies. It affects huge amounts of people and what they perceive about art in the world.
A lot of people have seen it, and not many people have seen Fantastic Planet.
Exactly. So, like, Fantastic Planet, like that, whether he like ever cops to ripping off Fantastic Planet is completely unimportant.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah,
I 100% agree. And I think, by the way, I think this is why I love you guys, is that we all agree on that, because I'm tired of the people that need the obligation to acknowledge credit.
It doesn't make any difference. If I were to know this guy, if I knew James Cameron, and like I was sitting in an interview, and James, my friend James is here,
dude, how are you? We want to talk. Okay,
yeah, it's like,
let me finish this with this guy.
Yeah, like some interviewer goes, James, tell the truth. Did you rip off Fantastic Planet? And James Cameron goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've never seen it. I would laugh in his face right there. I'd be like, that's bullshit. I know you've seen it. That's idiotic. Don't be a ding dong. Like, because I know him, right? And I would be like, you're acting like a fucking idiot. Like, obviously, cop to it. Don't lie. It's silly. It makes you look silly, you know. And that's what I would say if I knew him. But in that I don't know him, fuck do I care? Like, what does it matter? Like, I can see there's clearly an influence.
Like in King of Comedy, where he's at dinner, he's like, I'm not going to fill in for Avatar 2, baby.
I can't do James.
I can't do
James,
that.
James,
Until you say I stole from Fantastic Planet, I'm not going to do anything.
I'm still talking to Spielberg, but I can't possibly. Yeah, that's it. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jason, you're right on point. You want to discover art, and going down the rabbit hole allows you to happen. By the way, Jason, let us know if you've actually seen Fantastic Planet. I'm pretty sure you have.
I know about going down the rabbit hole, by the way.
Oh my God. Eric's. By the way, have you seen? Okay, so I didn't watch. I normally don't watch the Super Bowl because I don't care. But my father-in-law was in town, and I don't have cable, so I actually had to subscribe to Hulu streaming. And by the way, Jason, yes, he said he hasn't seen it. You should see it, Jason. Find a way to see it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ask how you figure out how to make that happen. Make it happen. It's a good thing. But,
don't do anything illegal.
but then we watched Super Bowl because my father-in-law was in town and he wanted to watch Super Bowl, and it was like, well, sure. And so we got Hulu, paid for Hulu live, and it allows you to watch that stuff.
Right.
And there's an ad about Tubi. Did you see the Tubi ad?
No.
Oh God. It's a Tubi ad with these very disturbing rabbits that show up.
Oh man.
And drag you into this hole.
The rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. And the rabbits look like the Donnie Darko rabbits.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job, Tubi.
No.
Sounds horrifying.
It does not. It's horrifying. It makes the service sound like they're going to kill you.
That's amazing. God, I love when ads go wrong. That's the greatest.
Nationwide, your son has died.
Yeah, nice.
You remember that one?
Yes. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that's the thing. Dude. It's like I love all this shit. Like I love learning about Alfred Hitchcock. I love learning about Francois Truffaut when reading their book together. Like I love all that stuff. Like these were all my interests. The rabbit hole is my rabbit hole. Like, and it's like I was talking with Anne. I was like, there are very few artists in my life that I will be sad when they die. You know, like they're like. Even when like David Bowie died, I was like, oh, well, that's too bad. He was great. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then like,
but it affects us all differently. David Bowie, exactly. Prince. Yeah.
Right. And so like someone has that, like, and I'm not immune to that. Like when David Lynch passes away, like I'm going to be very moved by that.
I was going to say that's the guy that's going to be hard for you.
That's the guy that's going to be hard for me. And so like
I had it with Kubrick. When Kubrick died, I was like, what the fuck?
But the thing is, I have to admit,
I had it with Jeff Beck a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly. But like, I have to admit that I feel this not because I know David Lynch. I don't know him at all in the slightest, but rather that what my reactions to his art are incredibly important to me. And I value those emotions that I've felt very strongly, and knowing that there are not going to be any more of those is sad. So the sadness is my own, about my own story, not about David Lynch or any money he owes me. Like, right. You don't know these people. They're entirely fictional until you shake hands with them. And so like James Cameron can live whatever James Cameron life he wants to. That's totally fine by me. I loved Avatar 2, and I love many of James Cameron's things. Maybe if I met him, I think he'd be a terrible person. Or maybe he'd be a great guy. I don't know. I haven't met him. So rip it off or don't rip it off, but keep on making movies like that, James. That was a good movie. That's my feeling.
Yeah, to me, though, there's a category of, for me, like, I think he's a brilliant director, but it's corporate directing for me.
Yeah, by design.
Yes, of course.
But you know what he did, though, dude? He turned Fantastic Planet into a movie that got $2 billion.
I understand. If I can finish.
Go ahead, Eric.
I understand that. I'm just saying, as someone like myself, who constantly sees ads and is constantly told what to like and not like,
right.
And I'm always saying, fuck that. I like the more Lynchian voices because it's a lot braver to speak like that than it is to make the corporate stuff. But I understand. And it's really more evident now about the corporate directors. And I'm not saying it's bad. He's a great director. He made a lot of money. It's just, it's corporate thing.
Well, like I would say that like his style is a big Hollywood blockbuster style, which is
Yes.
which is mostly generated by the corporate mindset, right?
Yeah.
I don't think of him as a corporate director because he is actually his own corporation. Like he is
Okay, but that's still a corporate director.
Well, I mean, like he is just like David Lynch in that he has created a situation in which he is making only what he wants to make. Period.
That is true,
right?
And I give you that 100%. I won't argue that.
And then so everything that he puts out is something that he feels deeply, richly, emotionally connected to. The terms that he uses are extremely popular, very common terms, and so they're on that front are not like on any individual thing are not like going to be crazily original anything, but that's also why they connect with so many people. So there's kind of a trade-off. Whereas like David Lynch, like you need both ends of this ecosystem, and both ends need to be made passionately. Like you need David Lynch and you need James Cameron because these things actually feed each other monetarily as part of the overall Hollywood system, right? Where real corporateness breaks it down is when they think they can make Marvel movies where nobody gives a shit if they're made or not. Like
True.
there's no life there. Like Avatar 2 has life. It may be completely big Hollywood terms, but it has a real belief and something that it really wants to say. And it's very, very clear about it. And it's just done in very middle of the road terms, but it's extraordinary what it's doing. Whereas like, Black Widow, like I can't even imagine telling someone that I made that movie.
Why?
Like I would be like, if I made that movie, I'd be like, well, I would be like, I made Black Widow. I'm sorry. like that is.
I feel bad about making Ghost Rider.
Yeah, just like this is nobody actually cared about saying anything or making anything to do with this thing, and it's evident because the movie is unwatchably bad, and it treats the audience like they're idiots that just eat whatever you put in front of them. Whereas like Cameron is making something that people actually have an emotional response to. And so like, though his style is corporate, I totally agree. He's still a passionate artist at his core. And I give him that much respect.
And a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to, sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Go ahead.
Chris, that's your style. And I understand. I'm used to it. A lot of pushing down.
I want to wrap this up with a little special for everyone. I'm going to bring Brady on to give his review of
so funny because I thought about
Cocaine Bear
coming on.
and Quantumania. Which one do you want first?
Quantumania.
You want Quantumania? Okay, all right.
Can I talk?
Yeah, no.
And then
He ran over here, ran into me.
Quantumania
wants
first.
Quantumania
At the
first,
end of
and they're
this,
going to give you the
guys,
headphones, and so you can hear them.
At the end of this, can I have O come and just show her artwork for Avatar?
Yes, of
She
course
loves
you
it.
can.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you? Is the podcast going?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sit down.
Yo, good to see you.
Hello.
All right. So you're debating over Quantumania and Cocaine Bear.
We know nothing about them, and we're looking forward
I've
to the
seen
reviews.
both of them.
Okay, hit us with a Quantumania review.
All right, Quantumania, pretty good. You need to know a lot about the other Marvel films.
That's a lot.
So yeah,
that's a big ask.
I didn't
never seen
understand
any of
about
it, so-
a good 35% of it.
Oh man, that's a hard ride.
I don't like the fact that they do that, but I also kind of like how it all connects to each other.
Oh, that's good.
Pretty good. Sort of funny. Cocaine Bear. I saw it last night. Extremely funny. Extremely gory.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. I
That's
say
an A+
you do
for
that
you.
one first.
Okay, all right. That one I'm doing.
Yeah,
for sure.
do that one first because it's.
Yes.
Where's the camera? There it is.
There it
It's
is.
absolutely hilarious and funny and
It's
very
a
violent.
maniac ride of bear killing action.
Yes.
Yes.
It's I'm like my rate for that one 8 out of 10. Like it was amazing.
Well,
I loved it.
I'm going to follow your advice on this. I'm going to see Cocaine Bear
Yeah,
as
see
soon as
Cocaine
I
Bear
possibly
first.
can. That
Yeah.
sounds brilliant. Because like I'm a fan of bear centric movies. There are many bear movies that I like.
Bear-centric.
But when I saw the ad for Cocaine Bear, I was like, we have arrived at peak bear. This is it. Paddington 2, great. Grizzly Man, excellent. Cocaine Bear is the one I've been waiting for the entire time.
That one, it was pretty funny. Very gory, lots of blood.
I love both. I love everything you're saying.
And the thing is, like, they have all these different characters, and like they have 15 characters, but all split up into different groups that interact with each other in different ways throughout the story.
And then are surprisingly eaten by a bear that's high on cocaine.
Yes.
You should pitch for Hollywood, Brady.
So, but it's cool because there's like groups of 3 people and 5 people and 2 people and like a 1 person, and they all just interact with each other in many different ways throughout the story in just this one forest that is ruled by a bear on cocaine.
Sure.
Oh my God, it's so excited. Thank you very much for bringing us your review. And please come back for anything else you happen to see in the future. You are quite welcome.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Oh, what's happening?
All right.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you.
Hello.
We understand that you have artwork.
Oh, yeah, I do.
You do. I'm
Let's do
hoping that the NVIDIA broadcaster doesn't actually cut it out, but I would love to see it.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yes.
Her avatar. Okay, yes.
So good.
That is an avatar water painting or
Beautiful.
watercolor that is absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work. Love it.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
And by the way, you have your own Instagram.
Yes.
And what is your Instagram? And people should follow you.
It's a really difficult username, but it's like an underscore, and it's like maybe you just search up like Olivia Shealy and you'll find it probably.
And can
Look
we
up
put
Olivia
it on the
Shealy
Discord as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it up on our Discord so
That
people
sounds
can
good.
do that. People follow us on our Discord. But Olivia's artwork is incredible. And by the way, there is one thing that she got her from her father is being prolific.
Yeah,
she
no kidding,
makes
man.
a ton of stuff.
We love this. We love this.
And I've always admired that about her dad. And she has followed suit on that. She makes a lot of stuff and is awesome.
Yeah,
And
super
you
good
put
looking.
your heart
Love it.
out there on your
Fantastic
sleeve,
work.
and it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Please feel free to come by and illustrate our backgrounds anytime.
Yeah, and to add to the theme, I even have an Avatar t-shirt.
Yes,
She has an Avatar shirt on right now. Thank you, Olivia.
Nice,
Yep.
nice.
Yeah.
I have a Krull t-shirt on. I know you haven't probably seen that movie, but it's almost as good as Avatar.
A weird one. We should cover that. I want
Krull.
to do that more as a watch party because
It's a watch party movie.
It's a watch party
It
movie,
is,
right?
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that's
Did
going
I
to
tell
inspire
you I
Olivia
saw
to
it
do
in
art.
3D?
Krull in 3D?
Yes.
Was it released in 3D?
I think I
Oh my
was because
God.
I
Oh,
remember
it makes
seeing
sense.
it in
You're
3D.
right. No, you're absolutely. Now that I think about it, absolutely true. I
because
just forgot about it.
the
glaive.
The glaive
This
comes
thing,
out
this is
in
the
the screen.
glaive. The weapon they throw it kills people. It's great.
Yeah.
All I gotta say about that. But I
All
swear to God, I will. If you are so inspired by anything that Eric has to watch for the show that you ever do a background for our Twitch right up here, please feel free, and I'm sure we can.
Oh, Olivia did some backgrounds for us.
Yes, for a Promised Neverland.
Promised Neverland.
Yeah, that's right. I
That's
remember
right.
that.
Yeah.
So please keep us updated on that. That is a beautiful painting, though. The Avatar work is absolutely
Thank
terrific.
you.
That's amazing. And that's a great watercolor. And watercolors are, hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And incredibly appropriate for Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought-
Especially
I thought-
the way of the water.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
I
watercolor.
was doing another one in class of Nighteria, I think her name is.
Yep.
Awesome.
But
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Awesome.
much for sharing that. That's totally awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Here, take your drawing, boo.
Spectacular work. Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
check her art out on our Instagram, and we'll post on the website.
Great. That is
Amazing
awesome.
hand, amazing
No,
artist at her
she's got
age.
a fantastic hand. Yeah, her Instagram and I was just telling you, I mean, she had the headphones so you couldn't hear, but I was like, she's amazingly prolific, just like her dad.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. That's good business.
Thank you
Love
for
it, love
that.
it. Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But that was nice. We should do the kids every now and then.
Oh
Amazing.
no, we should throw them in there.
No.
Can you imagine if all three of our kids did a podcast without us.
It'd be pretty hysterical. Well, with that in mind, I will also say, if you like video games, please check out Did You Rainbow on YouTube, which is my daughter's video game channel. She does Let's Plays that are totally amazing. So just to throw that out there as well.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we went well over.
I know. I didn't expect the weird French art film one is what blew us out.
You know what was really beautiful about that?
Well, actually, we talked about Avatar for a long time.
Yeah, it was epic.
But it's worth it. It's worth it, and it should be talked about. But true. I really want to talk about Fantastic Planet.
Absolutely.
And I thought this was I didn't know when we were going to talk about Fantastic Planet, but when suddenly Avatar came out, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Eric, you're going to say.
I was going to say that the music was really so trippy. It was like, for the doc part, it was like the Get Carter. It really takes you back to Europe in the 70s.
This is acid territory.
Yeah.
This is when acid was popular.
Hey, man, that Nixon, man.
Do you think he's going to do that, man? Do you think he's just
man,
going
to... do you think with Nixon and the structure? Come on, man. Think about it, man. Use your brain.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, boy. Yeah,
I was at Altamont, man. I saw it.
Yeah. Jason says you talked about a 3-hour movie in 2 hours. This is true. We did talk about Avatar in 2 hours.
We finally did it. We came in under the wire. That feels good. Yeah, there we go. That's all right. Well, excellent work, gentlemen. Excellent work across the board.
That was...
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, guys. I'm glad we made this happen. We got more happening, and we should get have our kids review movies like Cocaine Bear. That was awesome.
Cocaine Bear, dude.
I actually really want to see Cocaine Bear.
I'm totally seeing Cocaine Bear. Good Lord, I knew that I almost bought it before it came out. I was just like, if there's a DVD available, sight unseen, Cocaine Bear.
Yep.
Actually, I like Elizabeth Banks as a director. She's actually quite good. She's she's got great comic chops.
Is that who directed it?
Yep.
Holy shit.
I think she directed for Scrubs as well, which she was on for a while.
Yes.
So I'm expecting some decent things. It should be fun. It should be very fun. I love a good, trashy, crazy, bloody nonsense movie. And
I'm going to post new AI stuff in the AI creation channels for our Discord. So you guys, I just put a new one in.
Yeah.
And
there has been a lot of discussion about AI art for a long time. And whether the efficacies and all the other bullshit. There's actually someone who I saw just a couple hours ago who's trying to get Kickstarter to ban any AI art on Kickstarter.
Boy, guys.
And I gotta say, there is art created with AI that is unbelievable, and it's by Eric Shealy.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's something that it's actually been blowing my mind and is so unique and it would never have been possible if it wasn't for that technology.
Yep.
And he's not, it's so special. I gotta say, I am absolutely in love with it. And he's not sharing it with the world because it's part of him. It's part of him, and he wants to find the right context.
You can explain too that I'm the book and my story.
Yeah. It's a story that I'm.
You could you could tell Coop too. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm working with him. I'm working with him to find a way to tell that story because I have a little bit of experience in terms of the PR press side of things. But it is so special, and I have been under the radar, just showing things on my phone to very specific people, and the amount of jaw drops that I've had.
It's stunning work. It's absolutely. I haven't seen anything in AI, anything like
stunning.
Yeah, it's really.
I can't thank you guys enough. You know how long I've worked and hard I've worked for about 30 years,
and the fact that it is your medium, and he's created. What he said, like 8,000 images.
I'm coming up to. I've been working on it tonight as we're talking. I categorize all my artwork, so I put some new ones in and. Tonight on the Discord. If you go to Discord and join up, and the AI creations, I just put 2 new ones in now. Totally people I've made up.
Yeah, these.
Oh, look at that! Oh my God! Look at that!
Hold on. I'm going to Discord right now.
He's beautiful.
Jesus Christ. Are you serious?
Yeah, this is gorgeous. Like, there's nobody doing anything like this. It's incredible.
You've made this public enough on our Discord because it's not on our closed channel. I can share this.
Yeah.
Let's
I can share this with some people. Because there are people that are like, please, is there an image I can show people? And
these are like, the tone and the flavor of these things is utterly unique and beautiful, and it takes you into a special time and space that's hard to describe. So I think that's
someone just asked me today. Is there an image I can share with someone? And I'm like, yep, I will.
The one I just gave you is what I did tonight while we were talking about Avatar.
Oh my god, it's so great. Yeah,
okay, so I'm just saying, Eric, be careful, because anything you put on that channel, I will share with anyone else unless you tell me not to.
I know. We're working together here, all three of us. I put it on so you can use it. Okay, I have 9,000.
9,000 images.
Yep. So this is walking through Eric Shealy's memory and mind here. That's what you're saying.
He's recreating memories of his past through AI, and
it's really extraordinary. And as you can see, like it's done with an unbelievably precise control and flavor and style that you don't see it. Like a lot of AI work, you just see like just random bullshit.
Actually, Jason had a good point. Next time, put him in subscribers only, so that subscribers.
Yeah, that's right.
Join in.
Secret sauce.
That's it then. I'll start having a gallery that's for subscribers, so we can get more subscribers.
So this is the
Eric
taste.
Shealy gallery.
This is the taste.
These subscribers only.
Yeah,
that's it.
And this is the bait. This is the bait. Yeah. This is the bait.
That's it.
If you want to see the artwork, you just go there, and I'll post stuff.
No, I love it.
And my project and everything that I'm doing with the Alice Cooper thing.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful, and we definitely we continue doing well. Like, this is always this is a topic we talk a lot about, and I understand that not everyone is on the same page. I hope that when people see stuff like this, they can see that this is really becoming something special,
right?
Please, partake in these conversations with us, and we hope to win you over if you're not already won over.
Yep,
it's really something. But anyway, great show,
but Eric. Just to confirm, because I've got someone who's like chomping at the bit for this. I can share these images with the person.
Yeah, if you want some kick ass, I can give you some tonight.
No, I just want something.
Yep, it's good. We're off to
because I am working on this. We are going to make something amazing out of this, because I have never seen anything like this in terms of what's been created.
It's true. All right. Well, that ball rolling.
One more for the Discord. Here's one more I made tonight.
I really hope that people listen to this podcast all the way in, because there is gold at the end.
The last one I made tonight too.
Beautiful. Haunting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But these are people that, Totally.
Because
I've seen these same people that have come up again. So I know there's a narrative.
These are characters that you've created. This is the characters from your actual life.
And you've made them all.
I know them by name, and I wanted, after, people don't know, but I wrote something and I'm making it into a book. But as a child, I grew up next to Alice Cooper and in the early 70s. So I'm writing about that, and Alice gave me permission, and I said it, but it's been 4 or 5 years gone. But the thing is, I'm using AI to recreate memories and things, and it's a very strange thing, and it's a weird experience. But I want to also do a book. I think Martini Giant Press could do it. I want to call it the Friends I Never Had. And it's like all these people are kind of like people. So I'm just making these new synthetic friends from my childhood. And it would just be this whole thing. And that's kind of my goal too with Martini Giant Press.
This is like the secret sauce. This is like the secret little thing at the end of the book where you're just like, I didn't even know we were going here, but here it is. Here's the glory at the end of the podcast.
This is what I'm going to do. And the intro is like, you got to listen to the whole thing, because you have no idea what's going on. It is a huge thing. Yeah.
Will Lily make a EPGS? That's my initials. Eric Paul Gilliam Shealy. That's how I sign my paintings, EPGS. So a section AI EPGS. I'll put stuff on.
Talk to her. She's at a party right now, but she can totally make this happen.
She should not party. The thing is, we do that, we'll get more subscribers.
Damn tootin'. Damn tootin'.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually. I don't care, Eric.
Let's make it.
I care
even if it's
about you
more,
making amazing artwork.
Yep.
I don't care about the subscribers. I care about you and supporting what you're doing, because
I can't
any one of us, the three of us have great ideas, creatively speaking, and I want to support all of us. And this is the thing about Martini Giant for me.
We're going to do it. I'm telling you guys, there's something, if we keep going.
It's in the air. It's coming.
It's in the air.
It's coming.
We've got an explosion of creativity happening. And I don't know what Pandora box you opened to make that thing happen, what you're doing, but you've got something
You know how it is?
special.
And I just was about to say something. The reason is that I try, and maybe that's why I wasn't successful in Hollywood. I'm so opinionated and want to, just like a spoiled brat, do things my way, that I get this. It's like, well, I'm just not going to write the prompts the way people tell me. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And that's like Francis Bacon. That's everybody I admired as a kid. Fuck it, I'm doing it this way.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking about before. It's just like
that's why you get something different.
Yeah, this is like you're one of the few people I have talked to about this. In fact, you're pretty much the only one who is working with this as an artistic process instead of like some, like novelty. Like you're like the goal is art, and that's what we're using it for.
Yeah, and you come from it from the perspective of an artist as well.
Yeah,
and that's why it's succeeding, right?
Yeah,
because you know how to drive things.
The amazing thing is, and this is, I had 3 interviews for a company that they wanted to hire me full time, and one of the guys is like, "Look, some of the stuff we'll need, because I've been a 3D artist for 30 years. Like, you might have to model like a couch or a table. Are you comfortable with that? And you might have to design like sets. Are you comfortable with set design?" I was like, I said to myself internally, like, are you comfortable with reading resumes? But the point is,
apparently not.
It's unbelievable. And I was like, but you just keep going at it behind the scenes, and then one day somebody, says, "Hey,
I get it, Eric.
It comes through.
We're gonna, like, I see Martini Giant as beyond a podcast. We've seen it. We've said it for a long time. We're putting it out there. And the fact that you're starting to share some of that stuff is starting to put it out there. And we're all creative entities, all of us, and we actually feed off each other very well.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And we do that because the way that we talk about movies is the same way that we talk about our own work.
Yep.
As opposed to who wants credit for what. We don't care. We just want to make shit.
Just get this stuff happening, man.
Yeah.
Make some art. Get it out there.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
I'm going to borrow off Cameron. I'm going to borrow off Kubrick. I'm going to talk about it.
Dude,
just
absolutely.
like,
Yeah. I wear my references on my sleeve. So it's like, that's the way it goes. Talk about the stuff you love. That's what art is.
And you're doing it. And you're using AI art that was trained on other styles and making it your own. And that is
a whole new thing of its own.
Whole new thing. I've never seen anything like what you created in anything in art. And I may be wrong, but that is amazing. And it truly showcases something that was very, 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 very special.
That's very special. I agree.
Very special. So Avatar, Fantastic Planet, inspired by each other. Eric is inspired by AI, by the AI creation, found a way to make both of those things happen. Incredible thing. Go see Cocaine Bear. Somehow that I'm throwing that in there and follow Olivia and her Instagram.
Absolutely.
Because she's an incredible artist as well. But we are going to wrap it up because that was an epic output. That was a freaking epic podcast.
This is the longest one we've done in quite some time.
How long was it?
It's
2
almost
hours?
4 hours.
Almost 4 hours.
Almost 4 hours. That's a good one. It's Avatar.
Did
dude.
we lose
like,
Casey and everybody?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to tell people to listen to the whole thing. If they're going to end this, they're going to be
amazing.
I'm going to
be
Casey's fucking awesome, dude.
Next week, I'm working for the company he's with.
Yeah, Casey's fantastic. We love Casey.
I don't know where he is.
All right, you guys ready?
All right, let's do it.
I love to wrap this up because the problem is most people don't know that when I hit stop, it keeps going for at least another half an hour because
it's true. We still got more.
Right. We still got more. All right, you guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Drink.
Talk.
Drink.